Hey, everybody, let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear my voice. Oh, shoot. You know what I didn't do? I did not. Or did I? I think I did. Let me know. Thank you, Sonia C. Appreciate you. The streets are hot on YouTube today. I see that several people are live right now. So we're not going to have a packed house, and it is on a story that a lot of people just don't want to hear about no more. And they kind of already reached out to me and said, listen, I don't want to hear about that story anymore. So I understand that everybody is not going to be in the house with us today. Oh, excuse me. All right. So I want to talk about, is this it? Yeah. So I want to talk about something that I did some research on that I want to also bring to you guys awareness, because, the more we know, right? The more we know, the more we grow. And yeah, things get a little simpler. So anyway, can you guys hit that thumbs up button for me, please? And thank you. Tonight we are going to be addressing again the Romeca and Holly case, but this is more so toward Holly. Okay, so and this is just basically a lot of people out there are saying things like it was premeditated, okay, because she went and got legal documents and, things of that nature. I want to come back and I want to speak on that, all right? Because each state is different. And I want to come from the angle of the state of Illinois and what they say about duty to retreat, restraining orders, and whatnot, all right? So I looked up a lot of information and I just want to go over a few things. But before I get into that legal part, I want to bring something else up. Anyway, how y'all doing? I didn't even speak to y'all. Did I speak? I think I did. Hey, how's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Y'all doing good? I'm over here sipping on some Gator light because baby, it is what it is. I am over here. I guess I need some electrolytes in my system. She said everybody needs to know how to properly protect themselves. Yes, they do. And if they don't find out on any channel around here, they will find out on mine. Okay. We are definitely going to come from a legal aspect tonight, you guys. So before we even get into this, I just want to say, please, y'all, this is not for anybody to literally fight about, call names about, get upset about. This is literally strictly law. That's what we're talking about today, you guys. This is literally strictly law. It has nothing to do with whether Holly's right or Romeca's right. I am coming from an angle of how Holly handled herself on that day. And then I'm going to talk about some other behaviors that Holly did that a lot of people seem to think matches threats. And I want to point out some things that she did that does not equal being threatened and attacked. Okay. But before we get into the legal jargon of it, I want to bring your attention to something that I saw at least two content creators try to use as their justification for saying that this is not and will not be a self-defense case. All right. Thank y'all for telling me how y'all doing. I see it. Somebody said, Amoira, I hope you're feeling better. Thank you for that. And I'm not. However, I'm feeling better as far as overall. I actually feel good. But I don't know what it is. I have this lingering cough and this lingering drip in the back of my throat. So I went ahead and scheduled a doctor. See, I went ahead and scheduled a doctor's appointment, and I will be going to the doctor tomorrow. Okay. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and get that out the way because I don't know what it is. Normally I am able to try to, different things to fight off a cold, but I have not been able to fight this off. So I don't know what it is. So I'm going to the doctor tomorrow. So I'll let y'all know. I was actually talking to Ashley today, and Ashley G, and she was like, well, sis, I thought that I was fine and didn't have something because I didn't have a fever. And she said, I went to the doctor and found out I had strep throat and a couple of other things. And I was like, damn, I was thinking the same thing. I have not had a fever yet, right? So I was like, so I didn't think it was that bad. I was like, my temperature is good. I'm still up, right? But I've been in the bed majority of the day. But I'm like, it's just something that's the drip, 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 drip. And then I'm swallowing a lot or having to swallow a lot. And then I have this little cough. And so I'm just like, what is going on? What is going on? What is going on? But anyway, I'm going to the doctor tomorrow, and hopefully they can just tell me what it is. And if I need antibiotics, give me antibiotics, do whatever it is that I need. But I am sipping on some, it's called Gator Light. I've never heard of this, but my husband went and bought it. It's supposed to be Gatorade and Pedialyte mixed together. It's definitely not good. So, and y'all know I don't like certain tastes, but I'm drinking it because I feel weak. And I'm like, damn, am I dehydrated? So I am drinking on this. But anyway, let's get to this story. All right. But anyway, thank y'all for the concerns and the suggestions, because I see somebody saying try oregano tea. And believe it or not, I've done the tea. I've had Starbucks medicine ball for like 3 or 4 days straight. Then I even cut open a lemon and put honey in it and sucked on that. I've been kind of trying a little different things, thinking I can kick this, I can kick this, I can kick this, but I can't, y'all. I cannot kick this. I cannot kick this. So I don't. It's been weeks. So I'm just gonna go to the doctor tomorrow. I've already scheduled, so I can get this nipped in the bud, baby. This stuff is nasty though. It is mixed berry. It just tastes so ill. Anyway, but I've seen a couple of content creators use this post. Raise your hand if you have seen this post before. And have you seen it? And have you seen any content creators try to use this post to try to justify that the incident on September the 8th was not self-defense? Has anybody seen this post? Has anybody? Yeah, Tammy B, that's true. And I agree. Okay, Rita, you've seen it. So I'm going to read this post. Okay, Susie, you've seen it. I'm going to read this post and then we're going to talk about it. So Brown Mike, or his name may be Mike Brown, but on his profile it says Brown Mike. He says on September the 8th. Now, September the 8th was the day of the incident, right? The day of the unfortunate incident. And it says, if I send you this, just know I went to anybody's concealed carrier class and learned that I could shoot at anything without justification, cause I most definitely didn't go to Mike Brown's class. Because anybody who's been to my class will know that I would have told you, don't do that dumb shit. So peep, she's been into a beef with her baby daddy, others' baby mama. Her baby daddy brought her over to the location on 22nd and State in Chicago. She gets into an altercation with the person she has a restraining order against. Dumbass shit. Then, while the baby daddy got the other baby mama in a headlock, Lil Pistol, pictured here, shoots her. There is no way that you can ever say that this is self-defense when you come to the environment around the woman you supposedly got a restraining order against. Now, she's sitting in custody waiting charges for murder. From what I'm told, he's not arrested. Got her doing his dirty work. Thanks to a particular organization that made everybody and their mama a concealed carrier instructor. She probably got taught by a goofy who didn't emphasize more don't shoot scenarios than they emphasize when you could shoot. All right. Again, this post was from Mike Brown and it was written or posted on the day of the incident. when a lot of false information came out, okay? Because if you heard, like I heard, that, oh my God, this guy, he had one of his baby mamas in a headlock, and he allowed his other baby mama to just boom, boom, boom her, right? Just pop her. That's what we were told in the beginning of this story, right? Again, this was written on September the 8th. Now, I've seen so far 2 content creators as late as 4 days ago use this post as reference, which in my opinion, I think that is so unbecoming of a blogger to use outdated, irrelevant information just to fit their narrative. First, they should have looked at the date that it was written and realized it was the day of, when a lot of information was not privy to us, okay? On September the 8th, what did we not know about this case? Well, one, we didn't know that it was not at a school. We did not know that Holly had an active stalker restraining order. We did not know Romeca violated the restraining order when she pulled up on Holly. You understand what I'm saying? We did not know there was a fight on the day of September the 8th. We did not know that Carlos was trying to restrain Romeca from attacking Holly. Okay? We did not know that Romeca had threatened Holly over 19 times. There's a lot of information that we did not know, and we also did not know that everything was caught on camera on Police Pod. We didn't know these things. This was written on September the 8th, and like I said, 2 content creators, bloggers, whatever you want to call them, that is covering this story actually reference this old, outdated, irrelevant, and insufficient post. Why do they do that? Because at this point, they're looking for anything, and I mean anything, that will fit their narrative. You got to do better. As a blogger, if I saw the date on this, I'm going to automatically assume, all the information was not out. So I would definitely not reference this post, right? There's no legalities to this post, right? And not only that, Mike Brown is apparently, he is a weapon concealed weapon instructor. But even as a concealed weapon instructor, they can also get it wrong. Why? Well, for one, they are constantly changing laws. And 2, just because you are a weapon concealed instructor, right, doesn't mean that in your state, those laws in your state may not apply to the laws in the next state, okay? Each weapon concealed teacher, coach, or whatever you want, instructor, right? They have to abide by the state laws when they are teaching. So you can't speak on every situation because your state laws may be different than the next person's state laws, okay? So shame on the bloggers that actually used outdated information just to fit their narrative. I would encourage them to do more research and put out more relevant information instead of just, providing fluff to fit their narrative to their supporters, okay? So let me put this irrelevant, insufficient, outdated information down. All right. So with that being said, let's talk facts. Let's talk legalities. All right. I'm going to show you a little video. And I looked it up, and, you look on YouTube and you see all the videos of stand your ground and duty to retreat and what you should do if you feel that your life is in danger. So I kept looking and I kept looking and I kept looking. And I said, I want to know when force is justified. Okay. Because we hear all the time when it's not justified and what you should be doing as far as, oh, you should call the police. Oh, you should run for your life. Oh, you should hide in a car. Or, oh, you should be scared and do nothing or fight your way out of a situation when your stalker approach you, right? So I pulled up a video that was literally just done August the 5th, okay? It's November now. This was August the 5th, and it fits the state of Illinois, okay? So I want us to listen. Now, we're not going to listen to the whole video, but I do want us to listen to these two attorneys explain when force is justified. Again, this is out of the state of Illinois. All right, let's go back a little bit. All right, here we go.
Duty? Sure. So no duty to retreat.
Hold on, let's go back because he's explaining no duty to retreat. And I want you guys to turn up your volumes and take out whatever you will. You understand what I'm saying? You don't have to, it don't have to be what you think it is. Just listen with an open mind. That's all I'm asking, okay? All right, here we go.
We did about gun laws, but just in case anyone didn't listen to that one, can you explain the concept of no duty to retreat in Illinois law and how?
Okay, correction. The Kevin guy is not a, I don't think he's an attorney. Hold on, let me see. I thought he was. It looks like he is a legal podcast host. Okay, I'm not sure if he's an attorney. Hold on one second. Let me just make sure. No. So he's not an attorney, but he has an attorney that he's going to be speaking to, Edward Johnson or Johnson Edward or whatever his name is. But no, so he's not an attorney. So Kevin is not an attorney. He's just a legal podcast host. Okay. All right, here we go.
Differs from other states that do impose such a duty?
Sure. So no duty to retreat is basically a stand your ground law in Illinois. You're in a situation like in your house or anywhere you're legally allowed to be. You don't have to retreat at all. So you
hold on. So I want you to make sure you heard him. In your house or anywhere you are legally allowed to be. Legally allowed to be. Which means as long as you are not breaking and entering, as long as you are not trespassing, as long as you are nowhere that you are not legally allowed to be, you can stand your ground or you have no duty to retreat as long as you are where you are legally allowed to be. Okay, let's go back again.
You're in a situation like in your house or anywhere you're legally allowed to be. You don't have to retreat at all. So you can stand your ground, no duty to retreat. It just means you're in these legal places and you can stand. You don't have to run away. Some states require you to actually try to escape first.
That seems like a real gray area.
It can be.
As far as like requiring you to retreat, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I think California is like off the chains with this. But Illinois, surprisingly, has this law in there. I think it's a pretty liberal state, but the no duty to retreat is only in like self-defense cases or any other situation. So that if you're there legally, if you're in your car, your place of work, your house, anywhere in the public, you're safe. You can stand your...
Anywhere in the public, okay? Anywhere in the public. If you are minding your business anywhere in the public, right? And you feel that your life is in danger, you do not have a duty to retreat, which means you don't have to run. You don't have to hide. You don't have to fight. You can stand your ground and protect yourself, okay? Don't let people tell you that you have to run for your life, fear for your life, or any of that when you are where you are legally allowed to be. Now, that's not saying just go ham and act like you in some type of Western movie and just pull out your, your firearm and just go pow, 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 pow. You have to be in fear of your life. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Okay, here we go.
That if you're there legally, if you're in your car, your place of work, your house, anywhere in the public, you're safe. You can stand your ground, don't have to leave. And that's when you run into self-defense issues like how your reasonable, justifiable use of force is used, And that's really what comes into question is kind of, you don't have to escape. You don't have to retreat. You're in a situation. You can stand there. If you have a gun or any sort of weapon that you want to use, you have to it has to be reasonable use of it. So it has to be kind of the same. If someone's trying to slap you, you can't use a gun. That's not where this law of self-defense comes in. It's more about you see somebody coming with you with a dangerous weapon or somebody else, you need to step in, you're good.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about.
Okay, so let's go over that. He said if somebody is trying to slap you, you can't use a gun. But when you have context, right? You have someone that you have already went to the courts and told the courts that you are afraid of this person because they have threatened your life on multiple occasions. And the judge looked over your sworn affidavit, your sworn statement, and granted you active TPO for 2 years, which is the max in the state of Illinois. 2 years is the max for a stalking TPO. It is a civil TPO. That's 2 years is the max, right? So if the judge looked over your affidavit, right, and listened to what, read what you said and granted you that order, you are now protected, meaning that the judge actually believed that you were in reasonable fear of your life. So given circumstances, when he say, oh, if somebody's trying to slap you, you can't use your weapon. But when you put everything in context, your stalker approached you. You were where you were legally allowed to be. Your stalker approached you, blocked you in, and you had your child in the back seat. So when you put all those contexts together, you absolutely can use your protection. Okay, let's continue.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Like, what circumstances would justify a person using force in self-defense under the law?
Under the law, anytime someone's coming after you or somebody else with, a weapon, a bludgeon, any sort of gun, knife, you're allowed to have reciprocal force against them. So whatever you reasonably believe is the same force at the time, you can respond with that same force.
Reasonable force. Another thing that sounds like it could have a lot of gray area, especially in a court setting. How is that sort of defined, and how have you seen it used in court?
Well, we see it in a lot of different ways. You'd be surprised like you said, it is a gray area, and it's really important that you actually respond with the same force someone's coming after you. If they're going to use something like a weapon, you can use a weapon back. And the jury's going to decide whether or not how you acted is reasonable. So a lot of things come into play with that. And it's really up to the jury at the end of the day. But when you are in that situation, you don't have to escape. You're there. Whatever someone's coming after you with, you can respond in that same type of force.
As far as imminent danger goes, that can be a perception as well. Since I keep bringing up gray areas,
please listen to what he's about to say. Imminent danger can be different. People take it different ways. Please listen, because what you may feel is imminent danger, somebody else may feel different. But when you have already went to court and asked for a legal protection against your life, for someone to stay away from you and do not contact you, then that is an extra layer of evidence that you feel that your life is in imminent danger. Okay.
Keep it going. Feeling like you're in imminent danger, you could feel it when it's not there, blah, blah, blah. How does that work as far as justifying use of self-defense? How do you prove perception?
Right. And I think a lot of it comes down to witnesses, different videos, any recordings, kind of any sort of background. In Illinois, they allow the background of the actual, if let's say you kill somebody in a self-defense case, anything about their aggression prior to that is admissible. So you're able to kind of go back and prove those things. But when you're in that situation and when you're saying what type of force am I responding with and whether it's imminent.
So did you hear that? Hold on, let's go back. Let's go back.
So you're able to kind of go back and prove those things. But when you're in that situation and when you're saying what type of force am I responding with and whether it's imminent, think about this. You know, if someone's a hand's length away from you with a weapon, that's imminent. Okay. If it's a knife or a bat or a golf club or a hammer, we just want a hammer case where somebody was being attacked with a hammer and somebody was holding them back. So they had their arms pinned behind them. Someone's coming after them with a hammer. They were able to get one arm free and shoot them one time. They didn't die, but they were charged with attempted murder. And luckily the jury found in our favor. It's actually on an A&E show. You can check it out on our website. It's a great episode. But that's where that was imminent. The jury found that imminent. You're being held. You can't leave. You're right there, even though they didn't have a duty to retreat. But the person was coming after him with a hammer. If you get hit with a hammer, who knows what's going to happen?
Absolutely, you could die from that. Why were they arrested in the first place? Was it just that because someone was shot, or was it that the police didn't believe their claim of self-defense?
There was that person, because they were being attacked, left the scene and wasn't able to tell their side of the story.
You should never leave the scene. That is absolutely not a good thing, especially if you're going to claim self-defense. You should always stay right there. Okay. Running from the scene does not look like self-defense. It looks like you guilty, or you're hiding something, or you know what I'm saying? So that's not a good thing to do, but that didn't happen in the Holly case.
Gotcha. So they immediately issued an arrest warrant and came and got him. We were hired early on, and we were able to hand them over to the police after that.
So, okay, I was curious what the legal consequences were for individuals who use unreasonable or who use reasonable force in a self-defense situation if it's not clear as to what that is. I remember in the firearm episode we talked about the fact that if it's deemed that you were legitimately saving yourself or saving someone else, then you're acquitted immediately. But does it get difficult to try to figure that out?
It can be. There's a lot of situations where that comes to the jury, right? Where you got to ask the jury about it. How did this situation develop? You can call in expert witnesses to see how reasonable force can be interpreted and how to respond to it. We represent law enforcement officers sometimes that run into issues where they get charged with things and how they respond. So they have.
I don't know if y'all heard him say if you are protecting you or someone else. Okay. Having a child there adds a whole nother layer to her self-defense claim. It wasn't just Holly there, right? I mean, yeah, Carlos was there, but I'm talking about Holly and her child. So that adds another layer of imminent danger and self-defense claim, okay?
They have a self-defense claim too, or reasonable force. It's all up to, what happens in that exact time. But whenever they're really deciding it, we're already through the whole process and we're going to trial. Right? These are things that the jury decides or a judge decides, and everything that is going on, it's a totality of the circumstances. So everything leading up to it is all admissible to help, develop that.
Everything that's leading up to it is admissible. What does that mean? Everything that's leading up to it. All those 19 threats that she made. Hey, is this I can't remember her grandmother's name, but is this such and such Johnson? I'm going to unalive your granddaughter when I see her. You know what I'm saying? And texting her and telling her, I'm going to bash your head in when I see you. All the threats and whatnot leading up to that will be admissible in court, which means it will be entered in court. They will go back and see what led up to this. All of that, all those threats, they count. Don't think for one moment that those threats do not count, okay?
So everything leading
the restraining order, the threats, the phone calls, in the inbox, the showing your coochie, all of that counts. And you know what else? I'm gonna tell you something else that counts. Okay, Esther, thank you, Chantel. You want to know what else that counts? The fact that she had restraining orders taken out on her by other girlfriends or freak partners or whatever of Carlos. So women that he have dealt with prior, right? Romeca had restraining orders to stay away from them as well. All right. All of that counts. This is not just a what happened that particular day. All of that counts. It all leads up to this.
It's a totality of the circumstances. So everything leading up to it is all admissible to help, develop that, whether or not it was imminent, whether it was reasonable, and you can get different rulings based on that.
Mm-hmm. So someone thinks it's a self-defense situation, but it becomes clear that it's unreasonable force. Is it charged as if it was any other crime? That is there any sort of help that they're able to get based on the fact that they really felt like they were in danger, even though like the law said they weren't? Do you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, that's when it's really going to come down to who your attorney is, the type of information you provide them, whether you gave any statements. We did an earlier podcast about, the need to not incriminate yourself to the police. One of the strategies.
Absolutely. Did you hear what he just said? He said that they speak a lot on how to not incriminate yourself with the police, right? If you hire an attorney, which you should, if you ever feel that you are in a self-defense situation, and before you speak to the police, of course, you're going to, when they come to you and they ask you your name and stuff like that or whatever, you're going to cooperate and give them your name. But when they take you back to sit you down and try to interrogate you to ask you, okay, tell me what happened that day, you immediately need to contact a lawyer. Like literally say, I would like to speak to a lawyer. Like do not even explain even what you think happened. And the reason being is because you're emotional, you're shocked, you don't know what, you're like, what the fuck just happened or whatever. Excuse my language. I said I wasn't gonna cuss, but y'all, damn, I just did it again. Okay, my bad. Anyway, but you're going to try your best to not speak to them. Just say, you know what, all due respect, officer, I would like to speak to a lawyer. I would like to hire a lawyer and speak to my attorney so that I will not say something out of emotions or whatever the case may be. Okay. So, and I'm not a lawyer. I'm not telling you this from a lawyer standpoint. I am telling you this from just knowledge that I've learned along the way. When you are caught in that situation, because the one little lie they try to catch you with, they will try to twist it, turn it, flip it, and rub it down to try to incriminate you. And that is what you do not want. You just came out of a situation where you had to take another life and you're like, oh my goodness. So you want to talk to your attorney. All right, here we go.
The instructors of the gun class gives is the gun class gives is the
hold on.
You provide them, whether you gave any statements. We did an earlier podcast about, the need to not incriminate yourself to the police. One of the strategies, one of the instructors of the gun class gives is to actually, if you do shoot somebody, is not to call the police yourself, go into a store or somewhere else, after you put the weapon.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? I want to rewind it. If it's a case of self-defense, the best thing is for you not to call the police yourself. Go into a store or somewhere else and tell them to call the police. Did you hear that? We are talking to an attorney in the state of Illinois, okay? It is very important. Sometimes when you're incriminating yourself, because they're going to use your 911 call as evidence. So it's not always good to make that call yourself, because whatever you said on the phone, if your voice is shaking, if your voice is too calm, if you laugh, you know how they did the lady, Susan Lawrence, when she made the call to 911 and she was like, I just killed somebody, right? I just shot somebody. And then went on to say, yeah, her kids come in my yard and they leave their stuff. And I keep telling them to get out their stuff. Listen, you're still in your feelings, right? That 911 call can be used against you. You heard it from an attorney's mouth. It is not good to make the call yourself. Have someone else to make the 911 call, because it will. And I'm going to say it one more time. It will be used in court against you. All right, here we go.
To the police. One of the strategies, one of the instructors of the gun class gives is to actually, if you do shoot somebody, is not to call the police yourself, go into a store or somewhere else, after you put the weapon away and disarmed it, is to have them call 911 for you, because that's going to be admissible. You just say, I need you to call the police, something bad happened, not to flee the scene, but go somewhere where it's safe to be in case something else happens, right?
Put the weapon away. So we heard the witness say, if she's guilty or if it was self-defense, then why does she hide the weapon? Why does she go put the weapon in the car? Why don't she still have the weapon on her? Baby, listen, I don't know where Holly got her legal education from. I don't know if her family has a legal background. I don't know these things, right? But you hear the attorney right here saying what? After you put the weapon away, you go tell someone else what happened and they call the police because it will be admissible, which means they will use it. They will use everything that you said on the phone with the 911 operator. They will use that information, okay?
One of the strategies, one of the instructors of the gun class gives is to actually, if you do shoot somebody, is not to call the police yourself, go into a store or somewhere else, after you put the weapon away and disarmed it, is to have them call 911 for you, because that's going to be admissible. You say, I need you to call the police, something bad happened, not to flee the scene, but to go somewhere where it's safe to be in case something else happens, right? Mm-hmm. So all those facts leading up to it are really important, and you want to make sure to take care of that narrative as much as possible.
Can you share any examples from notable Illinois cases that illustrate the application of self-defense laws or the no duty to retreat principle?
Yeah, there's a couple that we have. Like I told you, we just did an A&E episode of guilty or innocent. That is a great explanation where somebody responded to being attacked with a hammer and used the firearm. There's other cases we have that where people get in situations like a bar fight and they get taken down by somebody that's a UFC fighter and they barely get out a firearm just to get them away from them and shoot that person. There's a lot of different situations. Those first come to my mind. Those are pretty.
Now, let me say what he just said. So he's saying in the criminal, he's had cases of self-defense cases where somebody was coming at a hammer. Okay, boom, hammer. That could be deadly, right? So he was justified to use his weapon. Another case, somebody that's a professional fighter coming at him and he used a weapon just to keep the guy from, coming at him, right? The thing about it is, when I said that they use prior incidents and to lead up to that day, they're also going to look at things that Romeca has been charged of before. Now, we all know, and this is not to drag the dead. This is not to put Romeca down. I'm talking behavior and I'm also talking facts, okay? So again, we know that Romeca has stabbed Carlos, right? She stabbed him with a knife. They said on the paperwork, it said she kicked down the door and stabbed him with a knife, whatever the case may be, and she was charged. Now the charges were dropped. We don't know if Carlos dropped the charges or the judge dropped the charges. We don't know how the charges got dropped, but we do know that she stabbed him, okay? And what do we say about knives? Sometimes you may not see the knife in someone's hand. Sometimes you may not see a blade, but we know that she has had violent fights prior to this. Fights prior to this, on top of threatening, I'm going to unalive you. I'm going to bust your head wide open. I hope you and your son DIE and things of that such. Okay, all of that matters. And don't let no one tell you that it does not.
Wild cases where luckily it was caught on a bar camera, that second one where we're able to use. But it's just all these situations, super famous ones that, really come at issue are all over the place. There was one up in Wisconsin where there was people being attacked during some riots, and a kid returned firearm with a returned fire, and he was acquitted as well. Wisconsin.
Okay, on this one, he is talking about Kyle. Damn, I forgot the little boy name, but it's some little kid named Kyle. He went to a riot that he wasn't even supposed to be in. He crossed state lines with a weapon, okay? And he went to a protest and it bust out in a riot. A guy came at him and he did not have a weapon in his hand. Yes, Rittenhouse. Thank you, Petty Redding. The guy name is Kyle Rittenhouse. the guy that he did not have a weapon, but what did he do? He literally was about to stump him with his foot. He literally was about to stump him with his foot, and Kyle took out his weapon and aimed it and shot him. And he was acquitted with self-defense because the use of force, right? He didn't have a weapon. You don't always have to have a weapon. And people need to know that you do not always have to have a weapon, or the person don't always have to have a weapon for you to protect yourself. It could literally be their aggression. You understand what I'm saying? The aggression and prior incidents, prior history with this person. But in Kyle's situation, the guy was literally about to kick him. He didn't have no weapon in his hand, but he was about to stump him or something like that. And so he fired, and it was justified per law, okay, per law.
Very supportive of the Second Amendment and self-defense as well. So anywhere you can think of, we handle cases in Iowa, Colorado, Wisconsin, Illinois. There's just so many great states that have these protections, but you have to act reasonable. And that's really, really where that, and whether or not it's imminent. You know, and it depends where you are. If you're in public, it's you got to be more careful than if you're at your house or that you're in your car and someone's breaking in. You can defend yourself. That's a forcible felony. You can use that force no matter what.
In the case of your UFC fighter example, is that because obviously UFC fighters they're dangerous with their fists. So is that something where it's reasonable to respond with a gun?
We think so. And the jury.
Now, you heard him when he said that if you are in your car or in your house, right, then you have a right to use force. Now, I don't think she was sitting in her car, but her car door was open. We heard the witness say both car doors was open. Romeca left her car door open, and Holly had her car door open, right? So she was in the commission of putting her son in the car. So that could be like she was in her car. She has a right to protect herself. Okay.
Thought so as well. Because
let's go back so you can hear that again.
Well, is that because obviously UFC fighters they're dangerous with their fists. So is that something where it's hold
on, let's go back. I'm sorry.
In public, it's you got to be more careful than if you're at your house or that you're in your car and someone's breaking in. You can defend yourself. That's a forcible felony. You can use that force no matter what.
In the case of your UFC,
a forcible felony, and a forcible felony is also someone violating a restraining order. That's a forcible felony, meaning that they are committing a crime. Well, you know what? Let me take that back. Scratch that, Amoira. It is not a felony. Breaking a restraining order is not a felony. Scratch that. It's a crime. So scratch the forcible felony, because breaking a restraining order is not a forcible felony. All right. So I said that wrong. Sorry.
Example, is that because obviously UFC fighters they're dangerous with their fists. So is that something where it's reasonable to respond with a gun?
We think so. And the jury thought so as well, because I mean, this guy still is huge, and my client was smaller. He was minding his own business. They had some sort of love triangle with another woman, and it got heated, and all of a sudden my guy's getting pounded on the ground and has to get away. Or I think he could have got murdered himself. This guy is a trained like jiu-jitsu champion. Like, it's wild. And what else is he gonna do?
Yeah. What chance does the other guy have against a guy like that? There's just no chance whatsoever. Yeah,
exactly.
To actually like put your fists up and go, all right, man, let's do this. You know, like you'd be knocked out immediately.
Yeah, you're not in the octagon. You know?
Exactly.
So you're in a little tiny bar, and things got out of hand. So.
You know, I just want to say it's sad that somebody can come in and hear from a lawyer speak on self-defense and get mad because it's not what they want to hear. But all I have to say is, you know, you don't be mad at me. Be mad at the law. Become a lawmaker and change the laws.
Luckily, my client was armed, or he might not be here today.
Wow. What kind of...
And did you hear what he said? Luckily, his client was armed, or he may not be here today. Now, that's an unfortunate thing that a lot of people do not realize, right? Sometimes people that use self-defense, if they were not armed and didn't have a weapon, they could themselves lose their life. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, I may have said things in a raw manner by saying, you know, Holly was a hero. She protected herself and her son, which I still stand by. You know, I hurt a lot of feelings, but, you know, not trying to hurt nobody's feelings, but it's just being raw and real. But what he just said, luckily for his client, right? If he did not have a gun, then he may not be here today. Now, I'm sure the family didn't want to hear that. I'm sure the friends didn't want to hear that. And I'm sure the supporters of that individual didn't want to hear that. Sometimes you have to say things that doesn't sit well with the supporter. You say things that they don't agree with, and then they get mad at you and call you insensitive. Speaking fact and speaking from a legal point of view is not being insensitive. Okay. All right, let's continue.
Like put your fists up and go, all right, man, let's do this. You know, like, yeah, you'd be.
Let's go back a little bit.
Against a guy like that, there's just no chance whatsoever. Yeah,
Exactly.
To actually like put your fists up and go, all right, man, let's do this. You know, like, yeah, you'd be knocked out immediately.
Yeah, you're not in the octagon. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
So you're in a little tiny bar and things got out of hand. So luckily my client was armed, or he might not be here today.
Wow. What kind of evidence? I mean, you mentioned that having witnesses really helps a lot. Or what other evidence do you get when you're or attempt to get when you're defending people who have used self-defense in this way?
Well, luckily I've been working with some of the best private investigators. They're able to find stuff that I can't believe half the time. We get general discovery from the state's attorney's office, and then these private investigators, they go out, talk to people. They have access to like more than normal people do with social media, but anything people post, 911 calls, text messages, different things. You know, we found out this guy was in an MMA gym. You know, that was something that your client's really a great resource too, because usually there's some sort of history with these people that are.
So let's talk about what he's saying. So as a self-defense attorney, what evidence do you go out and get, baby? Not just the testimony of the witnesses right there. You go and get things that will tell a character, tell a story. They go get text messages. They go get social media posts. They go get DM messages and things of that nature, phone calls, voicemails. You know what I'm saying? They go and get your social media. Believe it or not, a lot of people come out here and they express themselves on social media, not thinking that one day something that you said on social media could literally come back and bite you in the rear end. Okay. So with that being said, they're not just going to rely on a witness that was there that may be emotionally leaning one side or the other, right? They have the podcast camera, but they're about to peel back the onion on you. Both attorneys are. The state attorney is going to peel back the onion on the person that's charged or looking to be charged. And the defense attorney is about to go and peel back the onion. They're about to find out everything you did since middle school. Okay. Do you understand what I'm saying? They're about to dig up all the restraining orders. They're about to talk about your I saw established patterns. Exactly, Bocamoso. They're establishing your patterns. What type of person were you? So those videos that was put out, I think it was by Q, of Romeca holding weapons in her hand, getting ready to strike her baby daddy and pulling up on him and get off the phone, you little B, and stuff like that. All of that will be evidence if this thing ever come to a case. They're collecting those things right now. Now, I noticed since I've been doing this story that a lot of information is being cleaned up on social media, where I have went to Romeca page before and I've seen some of everything. And I went back to her page and I've seen that they have cleaned that page up, baby. So a lot of her posts, or they cleaned it up or just made it private. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of the things have been taken off the internet. But you have to understand, if Holly had a lawyer from the beginning, which I don't know if she did or not, but if she did, baby, they got that. They got that. And then you could pay extra money, right? I think, somebody one time I was looking into it, it was like $5,000, but you can actually have it's like a computer forensic science guy or something like that, go in and get all of that stuff. So your stuff is really not private. Your stuff is really not private. They could subpoena Facebook or TikTok or any of these social media sites, and they can get your information. So don't think just because you blocked it or even deleted it that it is not, I mean, that it's gone forever is what I'm trying to say.
Being
Okay.
aggressive towards you or that trying to cause you harm. So that's where we start first is clients come in, they tell us everything, and we kind of get the private investigators involved and start building our narrative.
So it sounds like Illinois does a fairly decent job of protecting people when it comes to self-defense from what we've talked about. Is that fair, or am I?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That is.
Illinois does a very good job. Now, this is attorney talking. Illinois does a very good job of protecting people in self-defense cases. Forensic analysis or more. Okay, thank you. They do a forensic analysis and they can find things that you think that is no longer there. Thank you so much, Dakota. But just like he said, Illinois is one of those states that they do a very good job of protecting someone that was using self-defense to protect themselves. Okay. All right, let's run that back a little bit.
Decent job of protecting people when it comes to self-defense from what we've talked about. Is that fair, or am I?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Hold on.
So it sounds like Illinois does a fairly decent job of protecting people when it comes to self-defense from what we've talked about. Is that fair, or am I?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That is so fair. And there's other things that you can also use in these cases too, where like we'll bring in experts that from the police department, from anyone. There's tons of experts regarding reasonable force that you can come in. There's other situations where all these experts testify for different things, and you're able to use those on your case, as well as like how we use gang experts, where if there's some sort of issue with some sort of gang, let's say you live in a dangerous area in Chicago, and this gang has been causing trouble around you and everyone else, and there's sort of an issue where they retaliate against you. We'll call in that expert to explain what this person's been doing, what they've been on social media. They've been making rap songs about how they're going to slide on everybody and cause trouble.
So what he's saying is, they can call experts in to explain what this person has been saying. Has she been threatened Holly before? Has she ever said she was going to do something to Holly? The friend that they had, the mutual friend that they had together, has she ever said to that mutual friend, I'm going to kick Holly ass, I'm going to beat her head, and I'm going to do this to her or whatever. So they're going to go out and do their homework. They're about to find out whether you think so or not. They're about to find out all the things that you ever had against this woman. And there's also a tape that's floating around there that I showed you guys. I only showed you guys seconds of the tape. I am hearing that the tape is longer than that, right? Where she actually videotaped herself. She incriminated herself, stalking Holly on video, right? She was looking through her TikTok, looking through her Instagram, looking through the comments. That is stalking activities that she recorded it and posted herself. Okay. Those are the things that they're going to find out. What was the motive? What was this about? Why was she so pressed over this young lady? Okay.
Neighborhood. And then, if you have to respond, that's admissible. No doubt about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, because obviously we talked about how Illinois is more on the liberal side, or at least Chicago is, Cook County is. But the fact that that they definitely are trying to help people who are trying to defend themselves or defend others is kind of surprising, honestly. Being a former Chicagoan, I'm actually kind of surprised by that.
One more time, you hear him say that when they're trying to defend themselves or defend others, i.e. her 6-month-old child, right? When you are in the commission of trying to defend yourself and someone else that you're responsible for, is looked at quite differently. All right. There's laws to protect you from that. Okay. You can't be a superhero out there trying to fight someone when it's not just your life that is dependent on you. It's your life and the life of your child out there. So you're not in the commission of just protecting yourself or to have the responsibility of just protecting yourself. Now you have the responsibility of protecting another life. You have to be careful with your actions, and fighting is just not it. It's just not it. Because if a person is able to get you down, then now they can go to that other person, i.e. that 6-month-old baby. It is your responsibility to protect yourself and that baby.
more on that side, to be honest with you.
And that's a great thing to be on. People have to be able to protect themselves, their house, their family, and
Their family.
they lose nothing by it. There hasn't been any crazy issues that have happened out of it. If anything, it just makes it a fair playing ground so that people don't get taken advantage of.
Have you had situations where it's a bit of a loose defense, where you're just like, I don't know, where you just kind of don't have the evidence to support it, where you have to go out, take other avenues to try to prove that the self-defense was necessary?
Oh, absolutely. We get cases where they first come in and you're going, how are we gonna get there with this? And then that's when those private investigators come in. You find out, this person text somebody else that they were going to kill you. They sent you a message. There is other
boom, 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 boom. Do you hear this? Do you hear this? Okay, let me run it back again. This person has text before saying, I'm going to kill you. Now, when I first came out here and I tried to explain this to you guys, I was ridiculed and oh my God, said, oh, that's not justification. And I was trying to explain to you, but I was probably my delivery was probably off, but I was trying to explain to you that matters. If someone has already threatened to kill you, you have every right to feel that your life is in reasonable, not even feel, take feelings out. It's belief. You have every reason to believe that your life is in imminent danger. That's what I was trying to explain to you guys before. She received threatening text messages. Her elderly grandmother received a phone call and said, I'm going to KI your granddaughter. Those facts matters. And that's what I was trying to tell you guys. Let's run that back.
How are we going to get there with this? And then that's when those private investigators come in. You find out, this person text somebody else that they were going to kill you. They sent you a message. There's other videos online. There's situations where people like openly made threats towards you and you didn't realize it, or they've done other things to other people before and you know about it or you don't know about it. And they could have other background. These people that are the aggressor, it's really surprising once you actually do that investigation, what you can find out about what those people are doing. It's wild.
So I would imagine no matter what, like even if it was clear-cut self-defense, you should talk to a lawyer pretty quickly after the incident.
Yes, absolutely.
No matter what.
Like we talked about with the pre-charge retainers, like if there's a situation and you think you're going to get arrested, especially with self-defense, you need to call my office.
What happens? So when the police show up and someone says, "Oh, it was self-defense," I mean, do they still bring the person in? How do they handle those situations?
Yeah, they're going to detain you. Mm-hmm. They're going to read your Miranda rights.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really? It goes that far? Okay.
Oh, yeah, they will. And what you want to ask for is, before we do anything else, I'm more than happy to cooperate, but I need a lawyer before we do anything.
Absolutely. I love this recording. Oh my goodness. Listen, exactly. When you get detained, and you will get detained. Okay. You will get detained like Holly did, right? You go in there and you literally ask for a lawyer. You tell them your name and all that stuff or whatever. But then you say, I would like to speak to a lawyer. Because what did I say? You do not want to say anything to incriminate yourself. When you just experience a shock like that, right? And people may not look at you and be like, oh, you're not in shock. You can't judge a person's looks, right, on whether or not they're in shock, because your shock is different than somebody else's shock. The look of your shock is maybe different than someone else's, right? So you don't want to go in there and just speaking like, what I did was, and he was coming at me, and then your words start twisting up, and then you just screw all the facts up and this, that, and the other, until when you calm down, you can really speak, like, okay, this is what happened, right? So sometimes when you're in shock, you may be liable to say things that just not is correct, okay? Just like those witnesses. That's why you heard 4 or 5 different versions from those witnesses that claim they saw things, okay? All right. A traumatic injury or a traumatic experience can leave you discombobulated, like all over the place, whether you were involved in it or you witnessed it. It's still a traumatic experience. Different things will be playing around in your head, okay? All right, let's continue.
I'm gonna read your Miranda rights.
Oh, really? It goes that far? Okay.
Oh yeah, they will. And what you want to ask for is that before we do anything else, I'm more than happy to cooperate, but I need a lawyer. Before we do anything, that's the best thing to say. You need to call my lawyer. You call Edward Johnson, you know. But any lawyer, call somebody. Be protected. Don't feel like if I don't say anything, if I need a lawyer that you know, they must think I did something wrong and I didn't do anything wrong. That's not true. The police are trying to, if you're in the police presence, they're trying to charge you with something. They're not your friends. This situation.
Exactly. Did you hear what he said? When you are in police presence, they are trying to charge you with something. They are trying to find something, anything, you know, and we heard that they said we have no, what was the word they used? We have no, y'all help me out. It was something they said we have no probable cause. They said we have no probable cause. You have to understand that, baby, they was looking for one. They was looking for something. They had detective after detective after detective running around trying to find a probable cause because they're looking for something to charge you with. Don't think for one moment these 2 months that they have not been trying to pull things out the air. That is why when you listen to a lot of the bloggers, right? I'm not gonna say their name, but when you listen to the other bloggers and they're like, oh, they still gonna charge you with this and you going to jail for that, you going to jail for that. Don't think that the cops, that has not ran across their minds already, the detective's mind. They have already looked to see, can we get her on this? Well, what about this then? Well, what about this? Can we get her on this? Because they want to hold a murderer. They want to hold someone that they think is a murderer. They don't want to release that murderer back out into the streets. So they are looking for things to charge you on. They are not your friend. Well, you know, in a sense of if they feel that you just murdered someone. Now, I'm not saying the cop's not your friend as far as I am, you know, anti-cop or I'm against cops or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying, you guys. What I'm saying when I say they're not your friend, if they think you committed a crime, baby, they trying to charge you with a crime. They're trying to charge you with a crime. They're trying to pull it from everywhere, anywhere. Okay, they are not your friends.
Be protected. Don't feel like if I don't say anything, if I need a lawyer that you know, they must think I did something wrong and I didn't do anything wrong. That's not true. The police are trying to, if you're in the police presence, they're trying to charge you with something. They're not your friends. This situation happened. They're not happy about it. They got to talk to the state's attorney to get approval. So they're building their case every single second.
Exactly.
So everything's going to be used against you if you say the wrong thing. So don't say anything. Just say, I want to talk to a lawyer. That's the only thing I would say. That's the important part. But these cases are complicated. They can get out of hand. And before you know it, you're in a jail cell.
Especially if there's no witnesses and it's really just your word. If the other person's still alive, it's just your word against theirs.
Right. Yeah. And that's what comes to a huge problem. So hopefully, you know, witnesses play a huge role in these cases, and expert witnesses too. But really eyewitnesses are so important, and the police are so busy that they might not go and talk to everybody in the neighborhood. So if you call our office right away, we're back out there trying to get every witness we can for you. And we're out there with the private investigators. We're trying to get traffic cameras, any sort of other discoverable evidence. One interesting case.
They're trying to get traffic cameras, right? Those are the PODs, the police PODs that's up in those lights and stuff, right? Witnesses are very important, but understand eyewitnesses are not the only witnesses in the case. Experts witnesses are also witnesses in the case. What are expert witnesses? The ballistic report, how far she was away. Did the bullet go front to back, or did it go from the side, or did the gunshot go, you know, as she was retreating? Was she retreating? They're going to go out and replay this whole thing, right? The expert witnesses is going to be able to say exactly what happened. Expert witnesses, they can go out to the scene. They can replay the whole thing, redraw the whole thing and be like, okay, this is what happened. She pulled up, this what, you know, from the camera footage and this, that, and the other. Not saying that they would disregard the eyewitness, but you have to understand eyewitnesses are not the only witnesses. You have that camera, that's a witness. You have your experts. your ballistic report, your the person that did the autopsies, the trajectory people, all of those are witnesses. But also investigators are witnesses. Let's pull up her background. What type of behavior did she have? Have she ever done any threats? Oh, here we got a restraining order. Oh, she threatened her grandmother. Okay, she a witness. Oh, wait a minute. She reached out to a mutual friend. Okay, she's a witness. Oh, the boyfriend was on the scene. Okay, he's a witness. Oh, she's done this in the past to someone else, another girlfriend, and they're no longer with. Oh, she's a witness. A witness. So a witness is not just the one that were on the scene, you guys. Eyewitnesses are not the only witnesses in a case. All right.
There was a bar fight. We were able to actually get the ATM video, which was
Oh, wow.
Yeah, luckily the first like couple hours was just people in the way, but it actually records the whole time. So that caught the fight on there, and it saw it develop, and we were able to get an acquittal.
Wow, that's an interesting one. I wouldn't have thought that would have the scope to get everything like that.
It just was perfect, right where
It just worked out.
There's other cases where we've gotten the ATM and it's been in a chase, but it shot it all the way across the street, because they always kind of keep that all glass in the facade at the beginning. So it's really like a running street camera.
Yeah, that definitely is interesting. All right, well, yeah, that was a very interesting episode. Thank you very much for that, Edward. Thank you for tuning in to Not Guilty: Lawyers, Guns, and Money.
Okay, so I'm glad I came across this video, and shout out to this podcaster. His name is Kevin Rosenquist. I think that's how you say it. Shout out to him. His name of his channel is Edward Johnson. So I don't know if this is the lawyer. Oh yeah, so it's on his page. It's on the lawyer's page, even though the host is Kevin Rosenquist. But the name of the guy is actually the attorney himself, Edward Johnson. All right. So anyway, if you want to check that out, you can. But I wanted to talk about that because I hear a lot of bloggers that are putting out information as if, like, you know, there was not self-defense. She had a duty to retreat. She should have ran. She should have done this. She shouldn't have been in the area. Now, let's talk about that right quick. She should not have been in the area. So I looked that up, and I just wanted to know 100% how does that play? Okay, because I heard somebody say that she was not supposed to be in the area because Romeca takes her son to that school, right? So she shouldn't even been in the area. But let me tell you what the law says. Let me pull it up right quick. She shouldn't have been in the area. Give me 1 second. I want to talk about she shouldn't have been in the area. Give me a second. If I can't find it, I kind of know off the top of my head, but I want to read exactly what it says. Give me 1 second. I should have had it right here. I may just have to wing it, but I can wing it. But I wanted to tell you exactly what the law says. Okay, here it goes right here. All right. About being in the environment, because that's what they said. She had no business being in that environment. And when they said that environment, they were literally speaking on she shouldn't have been nowhere around Romeca's son's school. Now, we all know that Carlos lives fairly close to the school, right? Because it was even came out the story that it was at the school, right? And that was debunked because it did not happen at the school. So now they're no longer saying it happened at the school. They are saying it's the environment. She should not have been around that environment. That is not true whatsoever. Okay. One, the person that is the the person that's the protected person, which is Holly in this case, she is legally allowed to go anywhere. As I was doing my research, it said even if she was at the school, listen to what I'm saying, you guys. Even if she was at the school, she would still not be in any violation. Why? Because a school is not someone's environment. A public school is a public space. So even if Holly, right, was at Romeca's son's school, Carlos' son's school, right, she still would not be in an illegal place. She would still be lawfully allowed to be there. Still, Romeca, even if she saw her at the school, she still was supposed to abide by the restraining order, and that is stay away, do not say nothing to her. Okay, I looked that up, right? So what it says is a school zone is not someone's environment. A public school and the surrounding areas are public spaces. They don't belong to anyone, not Romeca, not Holly, and not Carlos. Holly had every legal right to walk to her vehicle or be in the general area. There is no law, I repeat, none, no law in Illinois or anywhere else, right, that says a protected party, Holly, she was a protected party under a restraining order, cannot exist within a certain public radius of the of the restrained person's life. Meaning, i.e., this is just an example. If she knew Romeca's next door neighbor, she can go over Romeca's next door neighbor's house and visit, be at a whole party, and still be legally allowed to be there. Just because she's afraid for her life from Romeca, has a restraining order that says, stay away from me, she can still go to a next door neighbor's party if she knew that person. And it is still Romeca's responsibility to stay away. So again, Holly had every legal right to walk to her vehicle or be in that general area. No law in Illinois or anywhere else says the obligation to stay away falls on the restrained party. Well, the law says the obligation to stay away falls on the restrained party, not the protected one. So the obligation to stay away is on Romeca, not Holly. Okay, don't let anyone confuse you of that. All right. So to say that someone's environment is off limits because you have went to the court and asked for a restraining order because you are in fear of your life, not so, not true. Do not allow anyone to fool you. Do not allow anyone to take away your rights. Know your rights, okay? You are not to run. You are not to be scared. You are not to live your life in fear or of off limits just because you went and did what you were supposed to do, and that is protect yourself legally, all right? Now, again, it says it doesn't matter that Romeca's son went to that school nearby. Holly didn't enter her environment. Why? Because the environment is not owned by Romeca. Holly was at her boyfriend's apartment in a private residence she was invited to. She was walking to her car, which is a normal, lawful activity. She was in a neighborhood that opens up to the public. That does not constitute provocation or pursuit under any self-defense statute, which means she was legally allowed to be there. Romeca ignored a legal restraining order, all right? She was the one restrained. She must stay away from the protected person. She must stay away from Holly. Holly does not have to exercise the rights to stay away from her. Now, again, you know, Holly don't need to be going up to her door, knocking on the damn door. You understand what I'm saying? But her next door neighbor, she could be there. Or even she could be at a party where her son is at, a Chuck E. Cheese party or something like that. If she wanted to, she could be there. She could be anywhere she is legally allowed to be. All right. So now if Holly was en route to her car and Romeca passed by, because a lot of people want to say she didn't stop the car to speak to Holly. She stopped to speak to Carlos. Even if you want to buy that nonsense, the moment she laid eyes on Holly, and guess what? I even looked this up too. Even if Holly yelled out her mouth, bitch, what are you doing here? And I'm not calling Romeca a bitch. I'm only saying that to say if Holly was that aggressive with her after being approached or after seeing her stalker approach where she's at in her area where she's legally allowed to be. If the situation, Romeca drove up, hopped out of the car, was talking to Carlos, and if Holly was standing back by her car and just so happened to see her, I'm not saying this happened, I'm just saying, I'm only giving you a scenario. If she said, B, what are you doing here? What the F are you doing here? Holly still was not supposed, Romeca was supposed to not say shit to her. Romeca was supposed to get in her car and leave. Yes, ma'am. And guess what? Holly would not have broken no laws. It is no law against her saying something to Romeca. She has every right to say, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be around me. The order says 1,000 feet away from me. Don't contact me. Don't be in my space. Don't be around me. Okay? She had every right to say anything to her. Why are you here? Leave. And that would not be in any violation whatsoever. She has a right to that. All right. So again, the environment, that she was in, I don't give a damn if it was right next door to the school. I don't care if it was the school. I don't care if Carlos took the baby to school and Holly was sitting in the car. Don't let anybody, not a content creator, a family member, or nobody tell you that Holly was not supposed to be there. That if she was so afraid for her life, that she should have, stayed several feet away from Romeca. That's not how the law works. See, going to get that restraining order is telling the judge, Your Honor, I'm telling you, this woman has threatened me. Can you make her stop before something else happens? Can you make her stop? I'm trying to protect myself the legal way, and I want you guys to help me out, because if it comes down to it, and if I have to defend myself, I want to make sure I dotted my I's and crossed my T's. That does not equal premeditation. Just because you took the extra steps to involve the law and ask them, can you stop this young lady from harassing me and from stalking me, right? From contacting me, from contacting my family. Can you stop? I'm asking you, Your Honor, can you put a stop to it? And when they do put a stop to it, right? And then when you're forced to use lethal force to protect yourself, right? You cannot come back and be like, oh, this was planned. No, just because a person does what they need to do legally does not mean that it was premeditated. Because if it was premeditated, then she would have been the aggressor. She would have showed up where Romeca was versus Romeca showing up to where she was. That's how I know that this is not premeditated, right? So again, what I'm trying to say is Holly did what she had to do when she went and got the restraining order. She asked the judge to protect her space, to protect her peace, okay? And the judge did that. So now let's talk about the restraining order. And then we're going to close up because I understand other people wants to go live, right? When we first found out about the restraining order, we didn't know if Romeca was in court or not, right? We heard that it was default and we heard that it was ran through the papers. But we've since found out that Romeca did go to court in June. She just told them that she needed a lawyer and she failed to return in July. So the judge granted it in July, and the running through the paper thing was just saying that was after the judge had already signed it. But the running through the paper thing was, hey, I hope you know this. I hope you know you got a restraining order. But she was already told by the judge, Romeca, Meeks, or Blackman, you do understand that if you do not show up on this court date, July the 14th, that I will assign her a restraining order against you. Romeca answered the judge. So we ain't with us. She didn't know bullshit. Okay. Now, I wanted to know, does a default order means that the judge did not review the evidence or review the material that was presented from Holly? Baby, I found out something that almost made me jump up and dance. Okay. And why? Just because knowledge to me is power. Knowledge is power. I like to learn knowledge. I like to know the truth, not just speculations, right? I found out that even though the judge told Romeca that if you don't show up on this date, I can grant her an order, that he didn't really have to do that, right? That they still go over the sworn statements. And I also found out that in a civil suit, you have to understand that restraining order is civil, not criminal. In a civil suit, that your sworn testimony is your evidence. You don't have to have evidence. So the judge listens to, he reads your sworn statement, and then he gives the other person an opportunity to explain themselves, right? That's your ponderance of evidence, your sworn statement. So the judge read Holly's sworn statements where she lists item by item how many times Romeca had threatened her. She called my grandmother. She called my friend. She sent me a text. She jumped in my inbox. She said this on this day. She said that on that day. She sent me a picture of her coochie. She called my friend. So the judge read all of that. The judge knew all of that. That's why when Holly said, do I need to bring my evidence back the next day? And the judge says no. Why? Because your statement alone is your evidence. And now that I think back on it, I remember when I went to court with a young lady that tried to take me to court. He wasn't even studying her evidence. She was mad. And me, I ain't gonna lie, me too. I was like, are you gonna look at my evidence? And the judge like, I don't need that. Because they see your statement. They look at your statement and they're like, whether they're gonna believe it or not. Okay? So the judge reads the statements way before you even come to court. I don't know if they do it the night prior, the week prior, the month prior. I don't know. But they have read the statements. Now they want you to come in and defend yourself against this. But if you elect not to defend yourself, then what else are you giving the judge at this point? Why wouldn't he believe the other person, right? But they have to have some belief that what you're saying in your statement is true in order to grant the restraining order. Why do I say that? Okay. Now, for those that's been following me for a while, y'all know I had restraining orders requested for me, right? Remember Miss Season? She wanted a restraining order requested of me. I wasn't there, and it was not granted. Okay. I wasn't there. Krisha, she wanted a restraining order against me. I wasn't there, and it was not granted. Okay. So 2 different cases, they went to the judge with their statements, saying what they saying, and what the judge does, he look over it and he says, does this add up to harassment, stalking, bullying, and all this other stuff, right? And if they feel that it does, whether you there or not, they will give you a restraining order. If they feel that it does not meet those what you're accusing them of, then they will not grant the restraining order. It was 2 times I was not in court and a restraining order was not granted. Okay. Now, why was it granted in Holly's situation? Well, one, all the things that Holly wrote, a person is not going to come to court with all those different allegations, 19 different, she did this, she did that, she did this, she did that. And what a judge love? A judge love a timeline. I was taught that when I took a law class in my college days, okay? A judge loved timelines. You're not just going to pull a timeline out of your butt, especially over no year and a half, right? If you're like, on December this happened, January this happened, March this happened, June this happened, you know, so forth and so on, then they know that you have done your homework and you have kept up with things, right? That you're not just pulling them out the sky. Now, can you? Yeah, you can. But if the person is not there to defend themselves, then the judge is going to look at it like, okay, this person did a good job of keeping up with the timelines of what happened. All right. She said Holly even asked when she should bring her evidence. She did ask, but I found out in civil court that she didn't even have to bring her evidence, right? Because it's a preponderance, right? Document events is evidence. Yes, thank you, Fi. Yes, document events is evidence. If you could sit here and be like, Your Honor, on this day, this happened, this day, that happened, this day, this happened, this day, this happened, you ain't pulling that out of the air 9 times out of 10. You're not pulling that out of the air. That means that you have went back and you have recorded these dates and you have provided this date, this happened, this. And a lot of people go to court without that stuff. They don't keep up with that type of stuff, right? So anyway, but a timeline, document events like she said or he said, I don't know if you were he or she, sorry, I'm not trying to disrespect you, but that is evidence. And your sworn statement can be used as evidence as well, all right? So and in court, they had a little, what you want to call it, like a little spat in court. And the judge even had to say, now, Romeca or Mrs. Blackman, you are not making this easy for me to believe. Well, I think he said, you're making this easy for me to believe her side or something like that, because they got into it in court. I read the transcripts. They were over talking each other. It was more Romeca over talking her. Okay. And if you don't think the judge is looking at that type of stuff, you crazy, because they do. They look at your behaviors in court. All right. And if you got somebody being calm and not trying to be combative, and then you have somebody being combative, I mean, the first 3 words out of Romeca's mouth, she called Holly ugly. So why wouldn't the judge believe what Holly was saying? Why wouldn't the judge believe that Holly is being harassed? She called her ugly in front of the judge. She literally said ugly to Holly in front of the judge. Now, if Holly would have spent back off and said, bitch, you ugly, then the judge would have looked at it like, oh, both of these are toxic individuals and they have this back-to-back spat with each other. But the judge had to correct Romeca in court, not Holly. Not Holly. You have to understand, and y'all can say, for the people that don't want to, if they just want to not believe nothing that I'm saying, or just because whatever the case may be. And if they want to say, oh, Holly just smart and she knew how to, be posed and she knew how to do this because she got a lawyer in her family, but that doesn't make her right. That's no excuse. It's no excuse, because Holly knows how to maintain herself and Romeca doesn't. That's no excuse. That's no excuse. You cannot sit here and say it was premeditated, because she knows how to be civilized. She knows how to act in court. She knows how to act before a judge. She knows her rights. She knows her rights to remain silent. She knows her rights to go and get legally protected. She knows her rights to become a concealed weapon, a carrier. You can't say because everything lined up for Holly, because she knew her rights, someone taught her better. You can't say because she was well taught that it was premeditated. You can't say that. You absolutely cannot say just because this person was taught to carry herself a certain way, to handle herself a certain way, to handle business a certain way. You can't come back and say, oh, it was premeditated. She planned this thing from the get-go. You can't say that. The law is not going to look at that. Now, let me just go over this, because I did look at this. A restraining order is a shield, not a setup. A restraining order is issued because someone convinced a judge that they're already in fear of their safety. That means before Holly ever filed, she had to present to the judge her testimony of being harassed, stalked, threatened, or intimidated. She had to list dates and incidents showing an ongoing pattern. And listen, just like Fi said earlier, document events is evidence. You have to show an ongoing pattern. You can't say one time this person said this to me. The judge is going to be like, she was mad, you was mad. Y'all go on. Y'all have a nice life. But baby, all those dates, when I read off all those different threats, I said, oh my God. Trey said the same thing when he was on the channel. I had not went over this case with Trey, with the, going down the list and everything. Trey was on the channel, my panel. He was supposed to be fighting against me, and I was supposed to be against him. But when he heard everything, he like, whoa, wait a minute, what? He heard all those threats. He changed his own damn mind. Not to change his mind. That wasn't no planned thing. He changed his own mind. Why? After hearing the evidence. After hearing the evidence. Though it was an ongoing pattern of stalking and harassment and intimidation and threats made. A sworn statement under penalty or perjury is also included your evidence, okay? It says judges do not hand out restraining orders like candy, all right? So the idea that somebody premeditated a restraining order months in advance just so they can get away with pow-powing someone is just ludicrous. It does not make legal sense. It doesn't make legal sense. If Holly Gold was to harm Romeca, she wouldn't go through months of documentations, hearings, and legal filings that creates a paper trail proving that she sought protection first. That paper trail actually works against someone that has premeditation on their mind. It shows that she was trying to prevent the contact, not provoke a confrontation. It goes against it. Going to get all of that paperwork is that I'm trying to prevent something from happening. I'm trying to get you to stay away from me because I am a licensed carrier and I don't want to do anything to you. I'm trying to get the law involved to tell you to leave me alone. Leave me alone. Stop messing with me. I don't want no beef with you. We share baby daddies. I know you don't like me now, but eventually when we mature, then our sons will be brothers and we're going to be fine. We're going to be all right. But right now I'm asking the judge, can you please stop this lady right now? Can you please stop her? Because I don't want to hurt her. I don't want to do anything to her. Holly was, by her aunt's admission, Holly was already a licensed carrier, already, way before she met Carlos. That is what her aunt told on this channel in the comments, that Holly already was a licensed carrier. They went and got their concealed carrier together. She didn't just go get a weapon the day of meeting Carlos. She didn't go get a weapon after she received threats from Romeca. She was already a licensed carrier. All she was saying is, leave me alone because I am a licensed carrier. I'm not trying to provoke you. I don't need you to provoke me. I don't want a confrontation with you. So I'm asking the law to make you stay away from me. I'm pleading. Now, let's go over the fact that the first emergency order was denied, okay? Now, I found out through research, not just listening to another blogger's channel and just repeating whatever they say without doing any homework. That's not what Talk About It with Amoira does, okay? Through my own research, I found out that an emergency order, most likely they are denied unless you already have evidence that you were attacked before. If there were a physical altercation that had already happened and she went in and asked for protection, then most likely the judge would have granted it. But because there was not already an incident, then the judge denied it and set up a court date. Okay, denied it and set up a court date. She said, what about the papers said about the concerns Romeca had? That was hearsay. Romeca didn't write that up. She said that in court. And guess what? She had every right to come back to court in July and bring that up again. And she did not. She did not. Okay. So the concerns that she had, she actually, to be honest with you, she told a lie in court. She said she had taken out a restraining order against Holly already for those reasons. There was never a restraining order taken out on Holly. She was just saying whatever at the time to, I don't know, to sell the judge something or make him feel away. You understand what I'm saying? She said, why is it still an active investigation? Is it active because they're not done? They're not finished. They still got to do everything. They got to make sure that they're not letting, and a self-defense case take a while. It takes a while. They got to cross their T's and dot their I's. So when they go to tell the family that it was a justified homicide, they have to make sure that they did everything right. That's why it's taking a while, sweetheart. But let me go back to the emergency order. All right. Again, it's only granted if the judge sees prior physical attacks, right? If they had already gotten in a fight or something like that, then yes. Or if, well, let me read what it says. It says, oh, hold on, let me tell you exactly what the law says. Let me get it. All right, hold on. I'm gonna go over the, okay. An emergency order. Hold on, I have to wet my throat. Give me a second. Okay, sorry about that, and thank you for your patience. An emergency order denial doesn't mean the case wasn't valid. When an emergency order of protection is denied, it usually means the judge didn't believe the situation met the imminent danger standards, not that the petitioner was lying or making things up. Okay. It only meant for situations where a judge thinks someone could be harmed right now, like within hours or days. It's not uncommon for a judge to say, I am not granting the emergency order, but I will set a hearing date to review your statement and allow the other person to defend themselves. Okay. And this is exactly what happened in Holly's case. All right. So in an emergency order, what makes them go ahead and grant it right away? It has to be, the petitioner have to show recent physical harm or a direct imminent threat, like she's coming to kill me tonight. She's coming to end my life tonight. It has to be imminent, which means immediate. Recent physical harm or direct imminent threat. Like she's getting ready to do it right now. Like, oh, she just told me she's gonna come over tonight and get me or whatever, right? Okay. She said if Holly's situation in that moment did not sound urgent enough for immediate interventions, then the judge could deny the emergency request, but still schedule a full hearing to hear all the facts. All the facts is not just Holly's side. All the facts is Holly and Romeca's side. And that is what happened. He gave Romeca a fair opportunity to come and defend herself. Fair opportunity. More than fair, right? He gave her an opportunity and she didn't come that day. And then he gave another opportunity. I think it had something to do with she wasn't served or something like that. But when she came in June, she said he asked, do you need a lawyer? She said, yes. He gave her opportunity to hire a lawyer and set her own date of return. And she set July the 14th, but she failed to return to court to speak on her own behalf. Okay. Now let's talk about the order in which she did receive. All right. The final stalking no contact order was granted for 2 years. That showed that after reviewing all the evidence, everything in full, and with Romeca given a chance to appear in court, the judge ultimately agreed there was a cause for protection. All right. So the timeline actually helps Holly. She had an emergency denied order, means the judge wanted more evidence. She had a full hearing held, meaning the court looked at everything. And then the judge granted 2 years order, meaning that the threat and fears were credible once fully reviewed. Okay. That's what you call due process. That is what you call due process. Now, I heard someone say, oh, they only gave her 2 years. They didn't give her permanent. That means that it wasn't taken that serious. Not so fast. Not so fast. That's why you have to do research. Not so fast. The state of Illinois, 2-year restraining order is the max that you can receive on a stalking no contact order. 2 years is the max. Now, if it needed to be extended, okay? Like, let's just say if Romeca was still alive and the 2 years passed, Holly would have to go back to court with more threats or stuff like that, and the judge can issue a permanent order, right? Even if they think the petitioner story, hold on, it says, wait a minute, okay, it says, let me just read it. Under the Illinois Domestic Violence Act and the Stalking No Contact Act order, the maximum length a judge can grant a protection order is typically 2 years for stalking and up to 2 years, sometimes 3, for domestic violence. That's the statutory limits, meaning it is written in law. The statutory limits. Judge can't issue permanent orders even if they think the petitioner's story is 100% true and serious. They cannot issue a permanent order. All right. When that time expires, the petitioner, which is Holly, has to go back to court and renew or extend her order if threats still exist. So if she was able to prove that the threat still exists, then she could have got it renewed for 2 more years or extended out for another year. All right. So the length of Holly's 2-year order wasn't based on the judge belief level. It was based on what the law allows. The law in Illinois for a stalking no contact order is 2 years. 2 years. Permanent orders are extremely rare and usually only after conviction. Permanent protection orders are almost never granted in civil court. They typically happen after a criminal conviction, such as domestic battery, stalking, harassment, or some type of SA, okay? Even then, it's a criminal protection order, not a civil one like Holly. Holly had a civil protection order, not a criminal, all right? So listen, when people are saying, if the judge really believed her, he would have made it permanent, that is not so. They're basically just exposing that they do not understand the law. They have not done the research. Okay. In the state of Illinois, 2 years is the max. Is the max. And that 2-year order that Holly received shows that the judge believed her sworn affidavit. He gave her the max. Why do I say he gave her the max? Because I looked and I said, well, could he have given her anything else? Yes, he could have. He could have. Let's go down the line. If the judge level of concern was weak, if he felt that it was a weak case, then he could have gave what they call a cool-off period. That is 14 to 30 days. That is what Brianna received. Remember? Brianna received a cool-off period temporary order, right? So 14 to 30 days is what you call a cool-off period. That's for a weak case. For a moderate concern, uncertainty, then the judge could have granted 6 months, right? And ongoing threats and credible fear, that is when you get the max, anywhere from 1 year to 2 years. So the judge could have just given her 1 year, but the judge gave her the max, which is 2 years. All right. Holly order was 2 years. That is the max allowed under the state of Illinois stalking no contact statute. That is a strong statement as a judge can make in a civil case without a criminal conviction. So instead of being short, the small time, saying that the judge didn't believe her, the 2-year duration actually shows the judge fully accept her petition and saw credible risk over the long term. That 2-year active order speaks volume, not only for the judge, but it speaks volume in Holly's self-defense case. The judge saw fit that her statement was credible. She had ongoing threats and she had credible fear of her life. She was given the max allowed in the state of Illinois. All right? Illinois, I'm sorry. Y'all hate when I say that S. Anyway, so again, he gave her the max. That speaks volume. All right, let's continue on. Let's continue on. What was the next? I said a restraining order. Hold on. Let me see. Did I get anything else? Hold on. Let me see. Did I get anything else? I talked about the premeditated. I talked about no duty to retreat. All right. So that's what I have for today. So with that being said, that active restraining order that the judge felt was very much needed, he gave her the max amount, which was 2 years. That speaks volume. And that is, no matter how you slice it, she did what she was supposed to do. She crossed her T's. She dotted her I's. Oh, I know what I want to talk to y'all about. One more thing before I let y'all go. The TikTok video that Holly did. Let's go to that one. Because I looked that up. The TikTok video. Let's go to it. Give me a second. Let's go to the TikTok video. Was this it? No, that's not it. The TikTok video. Where's the TikTok video? Give me a second. I may have to wing this one because I don't remember where I put that at. Let's get to, okay, so I'm gonna have to wing it, but the TikTok video does not equal threats. So the things that Holly said, and I quoted every last one of them, right? It does not equal to the threats that was made on her life, right? And the TikTok video was actually made prior to the restraining order even coming out. So a lot of people say, oh, she violated her own restraining order. She violated her own restraining order. That is not true. It's not true. Why? One, she never even mentioned her name. So they can't even use it in court as saying that it was even directed toward her, because you have to understand, if someone doesn't mention your name and they just come out and say, oh, I would never this and I would never that and I would never that, that does not mean, you cannot prove in court that she was even talking to you. So that's inadmissible right there, right? She can't even prove that she was talking to her. That's one. But two, it still happened online. Saying something to someone online and reaching out to their family members or their own electronic devices does not equal the same, right? One, you can, out of frustration, come online and say something, this, that, and the other. But texting someone electronically, right? Texting someone electronically, jumping in their inboxes, sending them pictures of your vajayjay, contacting their grandmother with threats, I'm going to unalive your granddaughter and things of that nature. They are not on the same level. And I wish I could bring that up to you guys, because it was some important information that I wanted to tell you about it. Let me try to see if I can, oh, here it goes right here. All right. Okay. No, that's not it. That's the words alone does not make you. Okay, yeah. Words alone does not make you the aggressor. Is that, am I in the right place? Oh, no, no, no. That's when I told y'all, even if she yelled out, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, that still makes Romeca the aggressor because she broke the restraining order. So that's not what I'm talking about. I know I put in the TikTok video. Hold on. Let me just do it again right quick because I want to tell you exactly what it said because it's some good information, y'all. Damn. Here you go, right here. The TikTok I would never video. Now, y'all know how transparent I am, so I put in there the things that Holly said, okay, about I wouldn't want to wipe up, your ass and this, that, and that. I put it all in there, all right? It says Holly post was done in January, which was several months before the restraining order was even finalized, which was in July of 2025, right? She didn't even name Romeca. She spoke generally, saying things that she would never do, that parallel behaviors people online already associated with Romeca. Because people recognized the reference, they assumed the video was about Romeca. So even though it felt personal, there were no direct threats, no names, and no violation of law or order, since no restraining order even exists at the time. Timing matters. There was no strangle order, no restraining order, which means there were no legal violations. All right. The most important facts: when Holly made that TikTok, again, there were no active orders limiting her speech or contact. You cannot violate or provoke under a restraining order that does not exist. So you can't say she violated her own order when there was no order in existence. There was no order in existence, okay? You can provoke someone when you have not been told to not provoke them, okay? The law doesn't retroactively. It does not go backwards. It doesn't say, okay, it's granted in July, and I'm gonna hold you accountable for anything that happened in January. Okay, it don't work that way. So her January post had zero legal relevance to a restraining order that was finalized 6 months later. So even if Romeca felt called out, that doesn't create legal provocation. Freedom of speech protects Holly's rights to express herself, especially when she didn't make a threat or she didn't mention a name. This is very important, you guys. We live in America. People think that subs is harassment, right? When you subbing someone, they think that that's harassment. That is not the case. Absolutely not the case. In America, we have freedom of speech, which means what? We can say things. We can say things that may not have been pleasant to Romeca's ears, but that is not against Holly's rights. It's not against the law. Okay? Again, even if Romeca felt called out, hit, right? It doesn't create legal provocations. Freedom of speech protects Holly's rights to express herself. She was expressing herself. Now, the argument that she provoked her, that's coming from an emotional standpoint, not legal. All right. Now, critics are trying to frame the TikTok video as antagonizing, but here's the key distinction. Okay. Emotional provocation does not equal legal provocation. Self-defense laws only remove protection if the person intentionally initiated a violent confrontation, or act with intent to cause fear or bodily harm. Okay? Again, self-defense remove protection, which means if Romeca was under protection against Holly, but Holly did something, her intentions was to cause a violent confrontation or even act with intent to cause fear or bodily harm against Romeca. Romeca could have taken her to court and that protection order would have been snatched from Holly. Okay? It would have been snatched from Holly. However, that's not what Holly did. Posting a TikTok video with general statements months prior to this fatal encounter does not meet either standards. It may have made Romeca mad, and I believe it did, but it did not make Holly the aggressor. Otherwise, anyone who ever vents online could be blamed for someone else's violent reactions. We troll all day. We troll people. I troll people. People troll me. If people want Holly to be held to these standards, then any troll online, right? It would be okay if somebody come and attack them in a violent way just because they was trolled. You can't do that. You would be breaking the law. And that trolls can defend themselves, okay? So again, did the expression of Holly piss Romeca off? I'm sure it did. I'm sure it made her angry, but it did not make Holly the aggressor. She's protected under what? Freedom of speech. She said it in general. She never even mentioned Romeca's name. She never mentioned Romeca's name. I'm sure it was probably several people that probably could have listened to that and thought that they were talking to her. She was talking to them, excuse me. So anyway, could it have made Romeca mad? I'm sure it did. But does that justify an attack? No, it does not. All right. Now, again, it said it actually strengthened Holly's case. Ironically, if you think about it, that TikTok showed Holly was aware of toxic and dangerous behaviors from Romeca. She wanted to distance herself from that kind of energy, and she was expressing boundaries, not instigation. What does that mean? In the video, if you listen to the I would never, she's saying things like she's so obsessed with me. Oh, actually, I think that was the second video. She's so obsessed with me. She just won't leave me alone. Oh, my goodness. She just so obsessed with me, right? So she was already right there saying that there was some concerns, right? It revealed a pattern of her trying to speak through social frustration, not pursuit of conflict, all right? Months later, when she sought and obtained the restraining order, that TikTok aligned perfectly with someone who had already recognized a pattern of harassment. So instead of proving antagonisms, it shows forewarning and fear, which supports her credibility as a protected party. All right. So she had already came out and tried to express herself, because that's what a lot of people do. They come out first before they ever go get the restraining order. They come out and they say things online. They say things. And if you don't adhere to that and you still do the threats and all that stuff or whatever, then the next step is to go get yourself protected via the law, right? Again, she never said Romeca's name. She never made any type of threats. She just voiced her opinion online. Freedom of speech. She's allowed to do that. So what does that mean? That just means that TikTok video will probably never even come up. Okay, literally, it probably will never come up. She cannot in court prove that that video was her. She cannot do that. You can't just come out and say, oh, everything she said lines up with my life. That doesn't matter. Which is, even if she did prove that it was her, it's still not a crime. She didn't make no threats to her or anything. Freedom of speech is protected in America. All right. So again, she was being petty, but that does not mean she was antagonizing. All right. Public pettiness does not equal legal antagonism. Okay. All right. So what it says is critics are blurring moral judgment with legal accountability. You can think someone was being petty or messy and still understand that Holly had every right to post on her own page. Romeca had every obligation to stay away. A TikTok doesn't justify showing up in person and violating an order. All right. You just can't do that. You cannot do that. Absolutely cannot do that. So I think I went over what I wanted to go over today. The premeditated thing, I knocked that one out the water. The duty to retreat, I knocked that one out the water. The TikTok video, I done knocked that one out the water. And what was the other thing that I knocked out the water? Oh, that she went into Romeca's environment, right? As if Romeca owned the area around her child's school. So I knocked all those out of the water. Oh yeah, and I also knocked out of the water the statement that they tried to use from Mike Brown, which was made the day of the incident, right? Before any evidence came out. This instructor, right, made a statement, and 2 or 3 content creators thought that it was tea. They thought that it was tea to use a statement that was made on the day of the incident, okay? When no facts was out here. Mike Brown did not know that that Holly had an active restraining order against Romeca, okay? Did not know that Romeca had threatened her, her grandmother, her friend, her child, and all these other things, right? Did not know that she was protected and that Romeca violated an active protection order, stalking order, and came after the person that was protected, okay? So again, yeah, so I think I knocked quite a bit out of the water in this 2-hour live. Are there any questions? Amoira, allow us to activate when needed. Yeah, go ahead. You can go ahead and make your statements whenever you want to. Go ahead. Your comments wasn't keeping it cute. You don't have a heaven or hell to put anyone in. Who are you talking to, Dakota? She said, Amore say Mike has had a change in heart. Is there an update on his page? Oh, I don't know if he had a change in heart, and I've never went to his page. I only seen this on 2 content creators' pages. It's up to them to point out or to post his change of heart. And the reason being is because they the one posted his September the 8th order. But let me just go to his page. I'll do their work for them since they don't want to do it. Hold on a second. Give me a second. What is his name? Brown Mike. Since I've been doing this content creation thing, I just don't like that people just don't do the research. They just go and listen to another content creator, or they go and try to, go get things to fit their narratives without properly looking up the law or looking to see if it's valid or is it still valid. And it makes them sound very, you already know the word I want to use, but I'm sure they're going to cry if I say it. So she said he redacted his statement. All right, hold on. Let me find it. Because if he did, I bet you they didn't go look for that. Hey, Tammy, baby. Girl, you missed the whole 2 hours, girl. She said, just wanted to say thank you. We're in the bushes, but we're always here. Oh, okay. All right. So you was in the bushes. Hey, y'all. Let me see if I can find his redacted statement, because the other content creators didn't bother to do that. But then they cry about who gets super chats and who don't get super chats. Hey, you guys, throw me some super chats for this good information that I just put out. Because I do my research, y'all. I do my research, honey. I sure do. And we'll continue to do research. I would never just depend on someone else's commentary and don't look it up for myself, right? I would never do that. That's a sloppy blogger, okay? Give me a second. Let me go back to this date. I don't like content creators that does half-ass work, because I'm gonna make sure I do mine. Hold on, I'm still looking. I'm on September the 22nd. Let me continue. See, I'm not the one that went and got his document in the first place to use it. I'm not the one that did that. Somebody else went and did that, but they, you know, obviously they didn't do their damn homework. Hold on. I see it's kind of a I wouldn't say he retracted his statement. He spoke about it, but it's not a retraction. Let me just tell you what he said. Hold on. Let me just go back to his first one first. So he still have that up. Hold on, let me read what it said. Okay, so he did say, okay, so he wrote that on September the 8th. I see that. Let me just pull his page up so you guys can see the transparency. It looks like, okay. So he wrote this, he still has it up. So that's not a retraction, because a retraction to me, he would have taken it down. So he still had that up, but then he came back and he says, so the plot thickens. This is the very next day, right? He says, so the plot thickens. It doesn't take long to approve felony charges for first-degree murder. A little birdie whispered that it may have been self-defense. The self-defense-ish. More to come. That was the next day. And then he says, give me a second. I think he may be talking about this again on 12th of September, which is 4 days later. He said it's not about, I think he means it's not about what happened. It's about what can be proven. Prosecutors need evidence, man. All right. Then he says, right here on the same day on the 12th, he says, ladies, I apologize. This is why I tell you to avoid conflict. Even if it was self-defense, which I don't know, but even if it was self-defense, her family is big. The one thing that is true is that they do not care about legal justification. They want more to come after you. They want more to come after you. It's crazy to have an order of protection against his first baby mama when you know their child is with you. You know she's coming. Why would you even be there? I get it. I swear. I get it when women say they don't want to deal with a man who has kids. I get it, ladies. I mean, I've always gotten it, but I really get it now. Ladies, I apologize. Well, let me just see if he said anything else before I give my opinion on this guy. Okay. I'm not going to go through all of it, but this guy, from what he wrote, now he is what his job is, it says that he's a dad, author, educator, pew teacher, anger management specialist, child parent advocate. And it says here he's a principal instruction at security training concept. Okay. So it seems like he trains people he does concealed carrier training. Okay. Concealed carrier training. I wouldn't take his class, okay, because it sounds like he jumps to the gun prematurely without knowing all the facts. Like I said, on September the 8th, he came out with a premature statement. Then he tried to clean it up. Okay, came out with a premature statement, you know, a statement that don't have all the evidence, right? And then he came out the next day and said the plot thickens that he heard that it was self-defense-ish. And then the 12th, he made the statement basically saying, which I do not agree with him whatsoever, right? He says, lady, I apologize. This is why I tell you to avoid conflict, even if it was self-defense, which I don't know if it was, but even if it was self-defense, her family is big. The one thing that is true is that they do not care about legal justification. So what he's trying to say right here when he says her family is big, they don't care about legal justification. He's trying to say that if Holly is not found guilty in the court of law, that the family is big, that they may come after Holly, is what he's trying to say, which then he says, they may want to come after you, okay? It's crazy to have an order of protection. He's saying it's crazy for Holly to have an order of protection against Romeca, right? When you know that Romeca child is with you, which I don't, so he's saying, I don't understand that one. He's saying it's crazy to have an order of protection of against the first baby mama when you know the child is with you. So, you know, he said, you know, she's coming. So trying to say, if you take out a restraining order against the first baby mama, you know she's coming. You know she's going to step. You know that's going to piss her off. You know she's coming. Why would you ever be there? And so right here, he's asking, why would you be there if you know she's coming? I do not agree with him. I find that he doesn't know the law. And he's speaking out of, I'm trying not to call people the names that I called them last week. Jesus, hold my tongue. I've been good these 2 hours, but I just don't think that he is very aware of the law. Because why would you even be there? She has a right to be there. So this Mike Brown guy, I would challenge him to get to know the law, right? Before he says something like this. And it says here that he's a former U.S. soldier. So I know he know better. I know he know how to read the law, right? But anyway, I think he spoke out of lack of knowledge, lack of knowledge of the law, all right? Then he says, I get it. I swear I get it when women say they don't want to deal with a man who has kids. I get it, ladies. I mean it. I've always gotten it, but really, I get it now. Ladies, I apologize. So, again, I don't agree with his statement. I don't think that was a retraction. He's basically saying Holly is still screwed because she has a big family and they may take the law. You know, they don't care about no legal justification. If the legal system don't do right by her, then the family going to do something. I just feel like as a trainer and a professional, I think even saying something like that on your platform is just in my opinion, not a wise thing to do. And then he asked, basically he says it's crazy to do that. Why is it crazy to take a restraining order out on the first baby mama if the first baby mama is unruly, don't like to abide by the law, and like to threaten people? Why? So anyway, I don't agree with him whatsoever at all. So that is not a retraction. If anything, he tried to clean it up a little bit because he came out here prematurely 4 days prior without any facts, without knowing really what was going on. And he just took something and he ran with it. Okay. So I do not agree with him at all. She said the 9-9 post in a long comment, he says Romeca was parked as if she pulled up and popped out. If she kept going, she would be alive. Okay, let me look at that then. Thank you for telling me that, because baby, I'm about to. Okay, you said in a 9-9 post. All right, that would be the very next day after this post. So that's September the 8th. You said in a 9-9 post. All right, you said in a long comment. Let's do how you do these view the comment thing. I think you got to do like all. So I see where he says here. He says, he said, somebody said she is not free. The auntie went live and they family is tired of all the lies they are going around on social media. And he responds, well, that's social media. She could be tired of the lies all she wants to, but she can't stop people from wanting to get information and having their perspective. But I will tell you this. Everybody in Chicago has a firearm. I know I would. I mean, I already got one and I ain't even in Chicago. What am I talking about? Everybody in Chicago has a firearm. If you don't have one, you're not with the shit. Why pull up? Okay. So he basically saying, why pull up if you don't have a firearm on that one? Now, I don't see the one that you're talking about where he said that she shouldn't have pulled up. But yeah, why pull up? Why pull up if you just wanted to play patty cake? You weren't supposed to be there in the first place. And I just don't agree. And I know people don't like this and they, it is what it is, but you don't pull up on someone wanting to fight and you don't know if they're protected or not. And just think that, that you're just going to be able to just do whatever it is that you want to do and then just walk away. So I see here where he says what they witness need corroboration. Okay, so somebody said, so the witnesses and the video, I'm guessing, isn't enough to bring forth charges. I mean, the live footage seems to be given at them moments details do what the witness seen. And he says what they witness needs corroboration. Plus, it's a lot more to that. I seen it happen. She's not doubting that she shot her. She said she shot her. She said it was self-defense, and that's the burden that has to be overcome. If the grand jury got questions, I know a regular jury is bound to have questions. And then, all right, this must be it right here. Somebody asked him a question. It says, yes, I do understand exactly what you're saying. I guess there's a lot of speculation or suspicion of guilt just on how they're moving along. I know you can't go off of that. Just looking at this live video itself, she admitted it as she had no choice after the witness pointed at her. My opinion is that she put the pew-pew away after as if she had not done anything, not realizing someone would point her out. Oh my God, I cannot believe that. Really. He says, my question is this, and this question would be what a jury may have on their mind. How does Romeca car get to the location? Hello, now he's speaking my language because come on, common sense, guys, common sense. How does Romeca's car get to the location where it was and parked in the manner in which it was? It wasn't even properly parked. Now, this is still, he doesn't know that she got a restraining order, right? He says the way that car was positioned suggests that it was a pull up and pop out maneuver, okay? That's not suggestive of I'm 100% victim positioning. I wonder if she would have kept going. I wonder if she would have kept going. I think he means, would she still be alive today? She was known to be confrontational toward that girl and towards Carlos. It cost her her life, all right? That's something that a defense attorney would bring to light and will. And if the grand jury is asking questions, I know a regular jury will likely find her not guilty. And that's what the state attorney is trying to continue with, because they have to do more than just bring charges. They have to win the case. Now, I agree with the young soldier on this one, okay? I agree with the soldier on this one. Because again, you can't just listen to, oh, but the witness said, oh, but the witness said, oh, but the witness said. Baby, they're going to peel back the onion on this case. They're going to peel back the onion on this case. How did she get there? How did her car get there? Why was it positioned the way it was positioned? And then if Mike knew on this day, because this is the day after the incident, if he knew on this day that there was an active restraining order in place that Romeca was supposed to stay away, I'm sure that he would have said more. So now where I didn't agree with him in September the 12th statement, I definitely agree with him on this statement. It looked like he made this statement. It just says 3 weeks ago. So if he made this statement 3 weeks ago, then that means that was after the September the 12th statement, because 3 weeks ago would have still been in October. Okay. So he made that statement 3 weeks ago. But do you see how the two content creators that used his September the 8th statement without doing further research to find out that he in fact changed his position And he has the same questions and the same disposition that I does. Had she continued to go, she may be still alive today. He even says it in here. She was known to be confrontational toward that girl and towards Carlos. It cost her her life. Now, when I said that, it was, oh my God, she's dragging the deceased up and down YouTube streets. No, you just don't like the way it sounds. People can be responsible for their own demise. They can. They can absolutely be responsible. And most criminals are. Most criminals that break the law, what happens to them is their fault. It's their fault. Okay. So anyway, again, it's unfortunate, but it's true. That is correct. Unfortunate, but it's true. So that is why you have to do research, you know, coming out here and using somebody, because the person that used that 4 days ago or something like that. So coming out here and doing research and grabbing somebody's original statement and don't even know that they have changed their whole position on this is just laughable. Child, please. That's embarrassing, actually. In another comment, people mentioned there being full video of the incident. I'm wondering if this is just an online thing. No, I don't know if you heard, Nelly. I don't know if you heard my last commentary before, but there is video. There is video footage of the incident. The incident took place, the police pod recorded the incident. So I'm sure, you know, what happened is on there. So there is video footage of the incident. She said people also not fully listening to the witness. And that's another thing. People are like, she said, no, I'm late today. Oh, okay, no worries. But another thing, people just want to say, what the witness say? What the witness say? What the witness say? What the law say? What the law say? See, they don't want to hear the law. They want to stay in their feelings because it sounds good. It briefs well. I get it. But I'm going to stand on the side of law on this one right here. I'm going to absolutely stand on the side of law. I'm going to stand on the side of law every time, you know? Most people won't admit that because remember that most don't like to take accountability. And yet, exactly. Okay, only the police have the footage. Okay, and I believe that. I don't think it's circulating around the internet. I think that the police pod is with the police. I think they have the footage, you know? So, I mean, eventually they're going to have to come out here and say something, right? They're going to have to come out here and say something. And I just have a feeling that it's going to be soon. And I have a feeling if I have read the law correctly, like all the research that I've done, and I've done extensive research. I have, you know, I ain't gonna say extensive, like I ain't hired no private eye or nothing, but I've done a lot of research on this case. And from the research that I've done, I ain't no lawyer, I ain't no PI, I ain't no detective, but the research that I've done, I see it as a justified homicide. And that's just from my research. You know, it's justified homicide, which is the same thing as self-defense. So we'll just have to see if I could be the only blogger out here saying this. I know there's one other blogger that's saying it. I don't know how many others because people scared them away or whatever. So I don't know how many other bloggers are out here, but I know right now it's two of us that's saying, well, when I say bloggers, let me just say YouTube bloggers, because it could be TikTok or Facebook bloggers that's talking about this that I'm not following. But as far as YouTube, you know, I know that there's two that's saying that they feel like it was self-defense, justified homicide. And, you know, people try to come over here with their comments and, you know, say all type of crazy things in the comments and try to threaten you. I've had messages in my inbox of people trying to threaten me, and I cuss them out and block them or whatever the case may be, because, you know, I ain't scared of nobody, no internet thug or anything like that. She said if Holly had time to go to her vehicle, she had time to get in her car and safeguard herself and her baby and call the police. Where Renetta is apparent that you missed the first part of my video. It would behoove you to just rewind and listen. That she did not have a duty to retreat, sweetheart. And she did not go to her car and get her weapon. Okay. In the police incident, it says she pulled it out, which means she already had it on her. So she didn't go to her car. And even if she did go to her car, she didn't have to do that. She didn't have to get in her car and be afraid, Renetta. See, that's where you're listening to bloggers that don't tell you from a legal standpoint. All right, sweetheart? She says, y'all saw that other TikTok lady ran over somebody while on live. I don't think that has anything to do with this case, though. I'm not sure. Amoira, I'm proud of you for not letting people try to intimidate you into silence. Thank you, because, yeah, they could never. They could never. She said, Holly and Carlos is going to jail, mark my word. Okay, video call. Don't get mad, okay? Just, you know what I mean? You'll be all right. And then, so anyway, and I do not believe Carlos is going to be charged with anything at all, you know, because I mean, you know, anyway, I don't believe Carlos is going to get any trouble. None of them are charged with anything. And I don't even think Carlos is even being investigated for anything. But I don't think that, and right now, Holly has not been charged with anything, not anything, okay? And rightfully so. I don't think that she should be charged with anything at all. Not at all. She did exactly what she was supposed to do. She dotted her I's. She crossed her T's. So in my opinion, Holly did everything that she was supposed to do. That's not degrading the deceased. That's not, you know, calling out the family. That's just speaking law. From what I see, that young lady did everything to get Romeca to stay away from her. And she still violated her space. So Holly didn't do anything wrong, in my opinion. When do you think they will make a final decision on this? I'm just assuming that it's going to be when they collect everything. And I don't know if it's going to go before the grand jury. You know, you heard some content creators say that it has went before the grand jury. I'm not sure. But if it does go before the grand jury, you know, they'll take sometime it could be up to a month or so to deliberate or whatever. But, you know, who knows if it's going to be taken to the grand jury or not? I don't know. The conspiracy theories is what get me annoying as hell and do nothing but talk in circles every damn day. Yeah, I understand, David, but some people are doing this as a money grab. You know, they just know that there's a lot of people that are emotionally involved with this case, and rightfully so. When the news broke, the way it came out to everybody, right? I actually believe that the news should come out and apologize to the public for putting out that emotionally charged information, right? But I don't believe that they're going to do it. And the reason why they're not is because, you know, they get paid by views too. We get paid over here on YouTube for views, and so do they. They get views, they get ratings, you know? So a lot of people will watch their station if they can get them emotionally charged. And that's what they did. They came out here because even I've said this before, I believe that when I first heard it, I was like, oh my God, what type of baby mama is that? I'm like, damn, just like that. I'm sitting up here thinking you know what I mean? I'm thinking that Holly like a damn deranged person. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, she did that. That girl is horrible. Like, damn. I'm glad I didn't jump the gun and come out here and cover the story right away, because I would have covered it wrong. I would have covered it based on what I heard. And that is Carlos held her head. Holly came up and popped her, pop, 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 and walked away like a gangster. You understand what I'm saying? And it just didn't go down that way. So I do blame the media, right? I blame the media, but at the same time, I kind of also blame the content creators, the bloggers, whatever you want to call themselves, that's continuing putting out false information, because it is still content creators that thinks that Holly was still held and popped execution style, or she was, you know, she was leaving and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, she was retreating. I'm so glad you took the story. Thank you so much. I'm too classy. She said, which way did it go down then? I mean, I can't tell you which way it went down. I wasn't there, and I'm not gonna, you know, I could tell you what I think happened, but all I can say is it was caught on camera, so the police knows how it went down. And if it went down in a way that it was a cold-blooded killing, Holly would not be free today. And even if she was free, she would be at least charged with something. She would be charged with something, you know? So a lot of people, you know, they want to like just speculate and put their spin on it, but they do that so you can come back for the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. And I don't want to string you guys along like that, because when it comes out, and if they do say it's justified homicide, that those the bloggers that you've been listening to that said that is promising you that Holly and Carlos is going to jail, what are you going to say to them? What are you going to think? Are you going to be angry? Are you going to think they actually did their homework, read some laws, find out, you know, what was authorized and was not authorized? I'm hearing so much that, oh, she was not supposed to have a weapon that close to the school. There's a sign right there. And I've debunked all of that on this channel. I've debunked it all. You know? Oh, she's going to get fed charges. For what? Because she had a weapon and it was on school campus. It was never on school campus, for one. And she's legally allowed to carry her weapon. Just like the attorney said, the police is not on your side. They're trying to charge you with something. They desperately want to charge you with something. So the fact that they have not even been able to pull a charge out their ass should actually speaks, you know, to you. It should say, well, damn, it's been over 2 months and they can't find nothing. Sometimes the police will bring you in on a charge that don't even have nothing to do with the case, just to charge you with something. Just to charge you with something. Do you mind speaking on these creators being weird with the AI video of Romeca? I mean, I saw that, and I can't really, you know, I can't really fault them for doing commentary, because that's all it is, commentary. I think that I saw the one that they had Holly running and Romeca supporters running after her. I mean, it's still just a figure of speech, and it's allowed. You can express yourself. So I can't even say they breaking any type of law or whatever, because they're not, you know. I mean, you know, that's their opinion. They don't like Holly, right? Because they feel like Holly did something illegal, you know, and they don't like her. And I feel like, and I just feel like even if they come out and say it's justified homicide, they still not going to like Holly. You may have a couple of people with reasonable minds that may say, oh, damn, okay, so she did stand her ground. All right, okay, all right, Holly. But there's only going to be a few. You got to understand that a lot of these people are emotionally charged. So even if they come out and say justified homicide, they're going to be like, oh, the DA was her brother, cousin, Uncle Charlie. You know what I'm saying? They're going to come out of their butts with something like that. They're going to say, oh, they paid them. Remember? You remember when Brianna's charges got dropped? A content creator went on, you know, the charges for the eviction, when that got threw out. They went on a platform and said she she paid the man under the table. She paid him under the table to drop the charges. Like, who does that, right? So they're not going to accept the verdict. They're not going, even if it went all the way to court. If they found something to charge her with, they went all the way to court and then she was found not guilty. The people will still say she was found not guilty because they'll think of something. She knew the judge, you know. She paid the judge. She winked at the judge. She said she gonna sleep with the judge, you know. She gonna date the judge. The judge is one of her OnlyFans clients. Like, they're going to come up with something. So I just think that, to be honest with you, I think that it's going to take a while for this to die down. And then you have to understand that a lot of these people, especially on Facebook, I see they are taking advantage of the Romeca family. They really are. And they're posting photos and this, that, and the other because they get money for that. You know, they get money for that. They just running up a bag. I'm not saying that you shouldn't get paid for your commentary, because y'all know I get paid for mine. But I just, in my opinion, I believe some of them are doing that strictly to just run up a bag, because they know there's a lot of emotional people out there that just, want to see Holly get in trouble, Keys don't want to play the other part of that interview with the CPS security guard. I wonder why. Yeah, well, I've already found him to be a non-credible blogger. A couple of things he did, he came back and fixed it, which I admire him for that, because I do feel that if you get it wrong, you should come back and correct it. Some people don't, and but I don't really listen to him no more, because I'm convinced that he's just an entertainer blogger, and there's nothing wrong with keeping your crowd engaged. I can entertain sometime as well, but I just don't really think that, in this case, I think that he's not, this is not the one that he should do that on. She said, I'm behind. I didn't realize Facebook made money like that. Yeah, I mean, you got to think, I make money on Facebook, but not a lot, not a lot at all. But I may post and may get like 2,000, 3,000 views on my video, not my video, but my photo, and I might make $1 or $2, right? Or something like that. Well, probably more than 2,000 views, but maybe 6,000 or 7,000 views. And I may make $1 or maybe even $2. So you got to understand, some of these people that's making these 30, 40, 100,000, 500,000 views on these photos, oh, baby, they making a bag. They getting paid off of that. So a Romeca photo, when they see Romeca, a Romeca photo is going to get them paid. So they're going to post a Romeca photo and they're going to get all this engagement on that photo. And yeah, they making money off of that. Trust me. So, but I'm not knocking it. I'm saying, as a content creator, get your bag. But I'm just saying, I just feel that it's a shame that they're doing this, thinking, oh, I care so much about her. No, you don't. Stop playing. No, you don't. No, you don't. You just know what's making it work right now. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying you just have to peep it and claim it, Just so everyone knows, witness intimidation is against the law. Who's intimidating a witness, though? She said, Amoira, you are my girl. I told you that about him. Honestly, I said he couldn't see, but it's really true. I see how he holds the phone up to his face with his glasses on. I am not being paid. I'm just going to say, I think he has already came out himself and said that it's for entertainment. So you can't really be mad at him, because he said, I think he came out, if I'm not mistaken, and said, I'm an entertainer. All these content creators using the family, they all ran and got YouTube channels. Oh, they did? I just read that one. Be playing in all the emotional women faces every day. Yeah, so if I was all about money, like they claiming, like, because I make pretty good on my YouTube channel, and some of my haters, boy, they can't stand it, child. They like think I'm all about money. If I was all about money, I could have jumped on the Justice for Romeca bandwagon, and I would have been the top blogger on YouTube with the Justice for Romeca. But I'm not that type of person. You know what I'm saying? When I looked at it, and I really looked at it, and I said, is this restraining order? Is it legit? So I looked at it and I peeled back the onion, and I'm like, oh no, I cannot like jump on no Justice for Romeca. Not that I don't want the family to get justice that they see, they think that they deserve. I think the family should get whatever they think they deserve within the law. And that's where it comes in at, within the law. If it's not within the law, then they're not going to get it. You know, I wish them peace, right? I don't wish them turmoil or, you know, stress or anything like that. I wish them peace because they did lose a family member. I'm not happy that Romeca is no longer here. But when I peel back the onion on the story, it tells me that Romeca had a lot to do with September the 8th and actions prior to September the 8th. But she had a lot to do with that. So I would be just really, if I was like they say I am, oh, you just want to make money. You just want to make money. Man, if I would just wanted to make money, I'd be around here hollering justice for Romeca. And y'all know of all the content creators that's on here hollering some justice for Romeca, baby. I would have knocked every last one of them out the box. I would have knocked all of them out. I would have even had my haters watching me. I would have had my haters watching me, you know? She said, I find a lot of people on the Justice for Romeca side are career baby mamas projecting their hate for the other baby mama, their baby daddy, onto Holly. I just think a lot of the Justice for Romecas don't know the law. They absolutely do not know the law. They're not weapon carriers. They fight because they've, you know, several of them said it. She should have just beat her ass. She should have just beat her ass, you know, stuff like that. They don't know the law. They do not know the law. They don't know what having a protective restraining order means. They don't know the duty to retreat. Some of them don't even know their own state laws. She said, I think they should get the truth. I can't wait until they release the video. Just shut everything up. I'm unbiased. I'm definitely not blind to facts, though. Thank you, Pretty Jay. He's hilarious in many ways. I think he's just going too far with the case, like purposely misrepresenting evidence in the autopsy report. Yeah, I kind of stopped watching him because I'm like, yeah, he has a, you know, he has a show, you know what I'm saying? And it's his channel. You can't tell somebody how to run their channel. I just think that it lessens your credibility when you're not going by the law, right? Because people could literally look up what you tell them. The things that I told you guys today, y'all can look that up. You can look up and see, did she receive the max on her restraining order? Yes, she did. Was she allowed to be where she was? Yes, she was. Did she have a duty to retreat? No, she didn't. And then who didn't hear about the 911 call? Because people saying, why she didn't call 911? Why she didn't? Attorney said that she should not call 911 because anything that you say will be held against you. So even if the 911 call, they could use that in court. So whatever she said in the 911. So it is not good to call yourself. It is not good to make the 911 call. Right? She said, yes, very aggressive people on that train. They disrespect others so badly, like they aren't strangers. It's so weird. Yes. I mean, I've been disrespecting in my comments. And then when I snap back at them, then all of a sudden, oh, you're insensitive. You're so rude. You're just this. You're just that. But I do thank y'all for being a good crowd today. I didn't get any. I probably got maybe one or two. I don't know, moderators. How many did y'all kick out? Because I only saw like one or two people that may have said something that, you know, said something like y'all are crazy or delusional or something of that sort. But it wasn't as bad as it has been. So I do appreciate the audience for just having an open mind. Just listen. And I do challenge anyone that has heard anything that I've said to go look it up, to make sure that I'm telling you guys the truth, that I'm not just pulling things out of the sky. Like I'm telling you guys legal facts. I'm not telling you no made up stuff. All right. She said, I don't understand the backlash because you stated you are blogging from a legal standpoint. Exactly. I'm not coming from a emotional standpoint, and I'm not coming from a moral standpoint. I'm coming from only what the law says. Yes, I add a little opinion of mine, but mainly what the law says. So if you're not looking at it from the law aspect, yeah, you may think, oh, I don't know. You don't know what you're talking about, Amoira. Well, I'm only just telling you what the law says. You know, they don't know the law and they think TPO is just a piece of paper that holds no weight. It's like they pick and choose which law should be followed and which one doesn't mean a thing. Baby, that piece of paper right there, to be honest with you, made a huge difference in this case. A huge difference. So they can think that piece of paper don't mean anything. And I heard one blogger say, having a restraining order don't give you the right to kill. Who said it did? Who said it did give you a right to kill? But it shows that you was in reasonable fear of your life. You did the work to go get it. It does say that you are in reasonable fear of your life. You went and got protected and your stalker still showed up. Still showed up. I think Keys got threats from the family because his content was originally critical of Romeca. Yeah, I don't know. And I really don't want to speculate on that. According to USCCA, you should call 911 and tell them you feared for your life and to send help to the location. Okay, let me ask you this, never cared. So Susan Lorenz did exactly what you just said according to the USCCA, right? Susan Lorenz did the exact same thing. You know, the young lady that shot through her door and shot the black mama of 4 children, I think it was, 4 or 5 children. She did exactly the same thing. She dialed 911 and she said, I'm in fear of my life. Can you send someone? She doing 25. Wait a minute, 20 to 25. What? I think 25. She doing 25 right now. The reason why you should not dial 911 and allow somebody else to do so, because that 911 call, whatever you said to the 911 operator, will be admissible in court. They can use that 911 call in court. And they can say, well, you said on a 911 call, this happened, or that happened, or this or that. And that's exactly what happened with her. She did the 911 call. She started off crying, you know, oh, and this what happened? Oh, right? And then what happened after that? She immediately, when the 911 operator, which is trained, said, I think something along the way of, have you had issues with the kids before? She was like, oh God, yeah, or something like that. And then she went on to, you know, talking normal, right? So it could be used against you. So Susan did it and she's doing 25. And Susan got charged 4 days after the shooting. Holly, it's been over 2 months. Holly didn't, well, I don't even know if Holly called 911 or not, but I'm just going to assume that she didn't, right? If she didn't, right, and somebody else called, because we haven't heard no 911 call from her, so we just going to assume that she didn't. And she hasn't been charged with anything. So you do the math. She said, true, but the situation with Susan was a little different. She claimed self-defense. So how's it a little different? She claimed self-defense. You know? She said, that's like having a PTO, a TPO from an abusive husband and he pop up and harm you. You're going to defend yourself, right? Absolutely. Absolutely. She said, I'm not against Holly at all. Oh yeah, no, I'm not talking to you as if you're against Holly. I'm just saying, you saying according to the USCCA, I just played a lawyer from Illinois that said that they recommend to their clients, do not call 911. Just go in a shop or go somewhere safe and tell someone what just happened, you know, tell them that something just happened and you need them to call 911. And the reason being is because they will use your 911 call against you. Everybody don't know that though. Like I wouldn't have known that had I not heard him say it out of my own ears. I wouldn't have known it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to lean toward an attorney that fights these self-defense cases. I'm going to lean toward them. You know what I'm saying? She said, and she didn't know if it was kids or the mother who got shot. That's why she got 25. Yeah. And she got caught in all type of lies anyway. You know? She got caught in lies. The police told her on the phone, the 911 operator told her on the phone go into a room, get away from the door and stand back from the door and lock yourself in a room and wait until we get there. She did none of that. She did none of that. She said, oh yeah, my attorney tell me not to call or say anything at all until they arrive. And then even when they do arrive, say very little, give your name and this, that, and the other. And then they ask you what happened. Just say, I want to speak to a lawyer. I want to speak to an attorney. They'll twist your words up. Even if you're telling the truth, they'll twist your words up 15 different ways. Susan shot through a door. She ain't even know who was on the other side. She knew who was on the other side. She knew it was the lady, but I just think that she wanted her unalived, you know? She said, yes, never cared. What does never care? Hey, real TV, what does never care mean? She never cared who was on the other side. Is that what you're saying? So anyway, I think today's live stream answered a lot of, well, I don't know if it was questions, but it definitely rebutted a lot of things that were put out that's just false going around from panel to panel. I'm just going to say this. I'm not trying to toot my own horn because like I said, there are other bloggers that's covering the case kind of along the lines that I'm doing it. All I'm saying is just look up what the blogger is telling you so you will know if they are being, truthful or not. All right. She said, Real TV, are you going live? Somebody want to know, are you going live? She said, hey, the USCCA don't talk to no one until your attorney gets there. Yeah. Even if you don't have an attorney, they can't ask you questions if you tell them you're going to hire an attorney. You are not, when they say you have a right to remain silent, you actually do not have to make a statement to the police. You do not have to make a statement. You have a right to be silent, meaning that you do not, who did not make a statement to the police right away? The guy that they have charged with unaliving Kate, Kate, oh, it's her name. No, Kaylee. Hold on, I covered the case. Let me see. It's Kaylee something. Let me see. What was the what's the young lady name? Kata Scott. So the guy that they had first said he kidnapped Kata Scott, and now they charge him with her murder. That boy didn't say anything in the beginning. They came out and said he's not cooperating. So that's what they'll say. You're not cooperating if you're not talking, but you have a right to remain silent. And then this is another thing. I just want to say this, and then, then we're going to end it because I don't want this to be no 4-hour live. Let me just say this. The people that's coming in here saying they're going to jail, they're going to jail, they're going to jail, they're going to prison, this, that, and the other. What I've learned through research and experience, the burden of proof is on who's charging you, who's accusing you, right? Meaning the prosecutor. As a defendant in a case, i.e., let's just say Holly get charged. Let's just say that. She hasn't been charged anything yet, but let's just say she get charged. The burden of proof to prove that she did whatever they accuse her of doing is on them. It's not on the defendant, right? Hold on one second. Sorry, I had to clear my nose. So it's not on the defendant. The burden of proof is on the prosecutor or whoever is bringing the charges, right? Which means not all the time that you're charged means that they're going to be able to prove their case. Look what just happened to Diddy. The feds put out a RICO on him. And I've always was told, oh, the feds ain't going to charge you with nothing unless they done already did their homework. I was even saying that, right? The feds already know they done did the investigation. And that is somewhat true. They do the investigation before they charge you. but they're not always able to prove their case either. You got the feds and then you got the prosecutor. So the feds may have done their homework, but if the prosecutor doesn't do a good job of convincing the jury of what they're accusing you of, and if there's any reasonable doubt, and the judge says that if there's any reasonable doubt, you cannot convict. Any reasonable doubt. So if it's a reasonable doubt, the jury cannot even say, oh yeah, she's guilty, he's guilty, or whatever, right? She said the math got a math. Exactly, the math got a math. So it doesn't mean just because you get a charge that you're going to be convicted. Okay? Which she hasn't gotten a charge yet, but even if she does not mean that she's going to be convicted. Because if there's a reasonable doubt, which this case, believe it or not, it has a lot of damn reasonable doubts. It has a lot of reasonable doubts. You can put 10 people in a room and explain this case, and you're going to have people saying, you're going to have at least 2 of them saying, oh, that was straight up self-defense. Or you may have 8 of them saying it was straight up self-defense and just have 2 saying, no, it was cold-blooded murder. People's perceptions are different. If you have a person that, say, no, I wouldn't, I believe, I stick by the Bible. I don't think you should take a life. I think you should take getting hit upside your head, get a knot or 2 before you take somebody's life. You have people out there that believe that way. And then you have people like myself that believe, no, if I've already done all the legwork to go and protect myself, if I've already done that and you have made unlimited threats to me and my family, you contact, see, people don't even understand that. You contact my grandmother, right? You contact my grandmother. That's huge. That grandmother is worried. That's how they do. Right? But anyway, but people like myself will be in the room and I'll be like, no, wait a minute. So you saying she went, wait a minute, you saying she got threatened all these times? Wait a minute, she said she was going to unalive her? Wait a minute, she did all of this? And then, wait a minute, the judge approved it? No, wait a minute, hold on. And she knew about it? Okay, wait a minute, hold on. And she still pulled up? Wait a minute, so he was restraining her? Wait a minute, and then she got away from the restraints? Wait a minute, and then she advanced toward her? Listen, I would be one of those jurors that say, no, she did everything she could. What you want her to do? Lay down and say, oh, okay, come on, tell me when you finish so I can take my child home and feed him and clothe him and change him and love on him and rock him to sleep. Just go ahead, pound me upside the head. Go ahead, put some knots on me. Do what you're going to do. All right, let me know when you're done or whatever. And let me just walk away. Like, no. No. She said they can charge you with anything, but they have to prove it. Absolutely, Janice. They can charge you, but then they have to prove it. But the state doesn't like, in a case like this, right? The states don't like to lose. They don't like to lose. They do not like to lose. So they're gonna make sure before they even jump to do something like this that there's some type of loophole that they can try to go through. And that's probably the holdup. They're probably like desperately saying, wait a minute, like shit, 1 + 1 is not equaling 5 right now. Like, what's going on? Like, this is not a clear-cut case that we can take before the courts and win. So there are reasonable doubts, and they're like, shit, So anyway, I just thought that I would bring this forward to you guys. Tomorrow I will be speaking on the mistress that pulled up on her pastor boyfriend and his wife and didn't like the response that she received. And so she pumed him. We're going to talk about that tomorrow, you guys. If y'all don't have any further questions, I think this is going to be the end of this live stream. Again, thank y'all for being a good crowd today. And thanks those that blessed this live. Let me go and give y'all a shout out right quick. Sonia C, Sassy D, LaShawn B, Binkity Bink Bink, Robbie again, Jamie G, TV Joyce, Lashina, Candy Girl, Quane and Wayne, Lisa King, Cocktails and Combos. I like that. Cocktails and Combos. She said, if this doesn't clear things up, nothing will. Great coverage. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Exit 75, Salone. She said, the GOAT. Thank you, baby. Exit 75 again. Vera, great content and more. Thank you, Marissa. Oh, thank you, Tammy. She threw me some love. Appreciate you. And, you know, my heart goes out to you and your family because they are, you know, dragging you and your family up and down the internet without even knowing everything that went on. Speculations, baby. But y'all hang in there. That's all I can say. Y'all hang in there. Jamie Gerard, great live as usual. The law is the law and is. That MF and Cheryl Mooney checked in. Great live. Thank you. And I think I didn't read a couple of them. She said, good vibes tonight. Hit that thumb up, share, and show love with a super chat. Thank you so much. And I think I missed, I think I read all the rest of them, didn't I? Oh, wait a minute. Lisa King said, glad I caught your live. Great content. Holly obviously knows some law and her rights. Hey, Tammy, if you're still in here, can I ask you a question? You don't have to answer it if you don't want to. You could just say, I don't want to answer that. Can you let me know if you're still in here, Tammy? Because people be saying things like she was in law school or she has a lawyer in the family. I mean, I kind of want to know now. Because she definitely she did what she was supposed to do. And I just want to know, like, is she a law student? People are always just making up shit. You just never know what to believe. So I don't think she's still in here. So I don't know. She said most people don't have money. The Diddy case confirmed to me that an innocent people are in jail due to no money. Oh, I could have been told you that. Because if they charge her with it and they get it wrong, she can sue them. I'll find that out and let you know, because I don't know that information, but I'll find that out, David. I know that she could sue some of the people for defamation that has been putting out all these defamatory lies on her. She said, more weight. I'm still a supporter. I just got to update my new card. Oh, it's okay. And thank you, baby. I appreciate you. She said, Romeca had the nerve to say if Romeca fought Holly, Holly would have knots on her. Shaking my damn head. Oh. Well, then she had a reasonable belief that her life was in fear. Then her honest, you know, helping the case, helping Holly case. She said she had reasonable to believe that her life was in imminent danger. You know what I'm saying? Because not on you is, you know, that's danger. Hi, Kim. So Holly Aunt must not be in here, but I just kind of wanted to know, was she in law school or something? Because she definitely knew. She definitely did the right things. But that's because they don't realize if you look up the term in Greek and Hebrew and the context of thou shalt not kill is rendering to murder, not self-defense. Exactly. And murder is not self-defense. She's not a law student. Okay. All right. Thank you for telling me that, because that's what was put out. That's why you can't believe everything people run around here and say. Because, girl, I done heard she was a law student. Then I heard she has a criminal justice degree. Then I heard her daddy was a lawyer. You know, some of everything. You know, people just say things just without even without any ounce of proof or anything. You know. She said, I fell asleep. Did you do your disclaimer more? Oh, I didn't do my disclaimer. Thank you, Kimberly. So everything I say out of my mouth is based on my opinion and my opinion only. And if you would like to go to that channel to listen to more legal jargons about this case, the guy name is Edward Jones.
Welcome to
And this is his page. I'm actually going to be checking out more of his videos, so I may be bringing it to you anyway. But the name of the page, I don't know if Holly family wants to look at this, but it's called Not Guilty, Lawyers, Guns, and Money. All right. She said people just be saying stuff. LOL, no fact check. Exactly. So, I mean, it's Not Guilty, Lawyers, Guns, and Money. And it just speaks on the different part of the you know, people that's not guilty, right? The different part of the law. Everybody want to deem you guilty, but are you? So I'm going to be looking at a little bit more of his videos to see if I can bring it to you guys. He is an attorney, defense attorney. So I'm going to be checking out a little bit more of his videos, and he is in Illinois. Next, they're going to say the cow jumped over the moon. Oh, I'm sure they will. They probably already said that. Hey, Amoira in chat. I've been in the bushes, but I've been here from the beginning. Thank you, girl. Appreciate you. It's going across your screen, Amoira. What's going across? Oh, yeah. I just put it up there. Thank you. Which video is it, Amoira? Oh, the video of the one that I just spoke on. It's called give me 1 second. Which one was it? It was Forced and Justification, Navigating Self-Defense in Illinois. I'll drop the link if you want to check it out. It's literally Forced and Justification, Navigating Self-Defense in Illinois. I'm just dropping the link just so if you guys just want to go check it out yourself or, hear it for yourself. I don't mind you guys fact checking me ever. You can always do that because I'm going to make sure I do my homework. I'm not just going to go listen to another blogger and just repeat whatever that blogger says. No, I earn my money over here. You know what I'm saying? I don't just have people just give me money. I do research. So yeah, and I am throwing shade to the shit ass bloggers out here that don't do their research. Yeah. So that was shade. And guess what? I'm legally protected under the rights to say what the fuck you want to say in the United States. Yeah, I'm protected under that right. What is it? Freedom of speech, right? Yeah, that's right. She said, side note, I hate the situation happy, but I'm happy that I found you from the situation. Thank you for being unbiased and providing facts. Thank you so very much. And make sure y'all tune in to some other cases that I will be breaking down as well and giving y'all my commentary on that one. And if you are not a subscriber to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel. I think all you got to do is just hit the subscribe button and you can become a subscriber to my channel. And make sure y'all come back and hit that thumbs up button as well. So I do appreciate you guys. And I'll be back tomorrow around 7. I live in Texas, so it's 7 Central and not Eastern. So y'all can come back and check your girl out. But I do appreciate y'all, and also share my videos. Share my videos so that more people can understand that everybody is not, just because, we're not justice for Romeca doesn't mean that we are happy that Romeca lost her life, because I don't think there's a soul out here, not even Holly, that likes the fact that Romeca lost her life. But I am not one of those train riders that's just going to jump on a train of everybody else screaming and kicking justice for Romeca, instead of just peeling back the onion and finding out what really happened and then how the law says that she's protected or whatnot, right? So yeah, I'm never going to be that type of blogger that just want everybody to flood to my channel because I'm jumping on some type of bandwagon. I would never do that. So anyway, I love y'all, and I'm going to talk to y'all later, but y'all get y'all some rest or go follow another one of your bloggers, Badass Lives. Badass mean good. And I'm going to talk to y'all tomorrow. I love y'all. Bye.
Because they can't make $1 without mentioning down one of our names.
Jay! She kept talking about that family.
Hoes over there.
She kept talking about that family. 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 That family. She kept talking about that family. Talking about that family.
These motherfuckers don't be wanting to listen. make $1 without mentioning down one of our